a comment. But the technicals, it's not a good look. It's breaking down below the 200, and you're about to get the death cross.
A valid point that you had. Remember, you said he owns like 5% of the bond market.
There you go. Madness. I forgot about that stat. It's absolute madness.
It's ridiculous. 5% of the bond market.
Oh boy,
is insane.
Oh boy.
And Wayne was telling me something before we sent it back there. He was telling me how he structured some puts somehow that he bought like, I don't know, a couple decades ago that expire relatively soon. So he's just been cleaning off these puts that he's been owning for like 20 years, that are set to expire, I think, at the end of the year.
Okay, guys, it is 2:02. Sean looks a little different today, you know?
Changed,
He might look a little different here. I don't know. How you guys feel? Love it.
He doesn't have his hat on.
He doesn't have the hat on. All right, guys. Joseph and I will see you same bat time, same bat channel. Big boys are that away.
I think Sean looks fantastic. You know, you able to get a nice haircut.
He's a little older though.
During the break.
It happens.
There's been a lot going on around here. First of all, just a couple of things. For anyone that didn't know, NVIDIA broke 160, as you probably could tell. And I was going to join that Berkshire conversation, but there's a lot that's been going on. And I see what you have up there.
Wow.
Because, Randy, one of the most unsung movers today, whoops, it's LCID. Don't actually type over 10% today. Over 10% today, Lucid, 11% to the upside.
On my screen.
And I saw an error on the road on the way to camping.
Yep.
We saw one. I don't see them very often, but I saw one out on the way in the 401.
This is an achievement. I mean, okay, you're up at the top end of the scale in this platform, but 1,205, yes, it's kilometers, not miles, but what's that, 780 miles? Anyway. That's pretty good. I mean, that's fantastic. So is this the only news? I think today, I haven't read anything else. I've been too busy running around here fixing leaks and other problems, construction issues. But Lucid's up what, 10, 11% today?
11%.
It's not a bad ride for the day.
Finally bought.
You know, they haven't really moved much in the last...
You know what though, Randy? It's like the thing with Lucid, and this was similar to Rivian, which we call you Rivian Randy for a reason. Sometimes the market just tells you something. Look at the $2 level on this stock. It's been essentially there is no other trade on this stock going back the last almost full year, other than buying the $2 level, and you happen to get a catalyst to run it off this now. So yeah, it looks like you could be on the start of something. Now, obviously, it's rejected 3 and it's rejected 350. So you've been able to take 30, 40, 50% moves. Maybe you get a little bit more than that, 70, 80. That's been the play, essentially, on Lucid here, but certainly looking pretty constructive. The day one play.
11% in one day. I mean, again, most of the catalysts in the past have been earnings reports and production volume reports, deliveries and so forth. But this, I mean, again, it's trade the news, but not a bad day for Lucid.
Not bad at all. Absolutely not bad at all. I do want to, Tisha Perkins in the chat here. Anytime this happens, I always make this acknowledgement because someone else did this too. And they're like, Neil, didn't you call up BTCS in the chat in the pre-market? And I appreciate it. And a lot of times, I didn't trade this stock, but I'm just keeping it real. This has happened earlier. Someone said, oh my goodness, you mentioned this stock a couple weeks ago, and look at it now. Some of those small cappers, I'm simply joining the conversation that happens in the pre-market with a lot of our regular viewers. That's already ongoing and generic. And as that conversation is going on, I might give my thoughts on one of the names that you guys are already talking about. And I'll just say, man, you guys got one. Look at the levels on this. It looks great if it can break blah, 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 and do this. So, the credit is to the community. Tisha, you're definitely one of them. Yeah, it was down around $3, but look, I didn't trade it. You guys did. And when I say you guys, you know what I mean. I mean other people, obviously. So, look, yeah, certainly this is one that we were discussing in the pre-market because its profile looked pretty strong. And
I think it outdid itself.
Well. Yes, oftentimes these will outdo themselves, Randy, and no one ever went broke taking profit. But I just gotta, very quickly, because this is not really extending the way I'd want on that breakout. So NVIDIA broke 160. It was a double top break underneath 160, but I took the actual 160 break, and it's just not going anywhere. So I might duck out of this if we lose the prior high.
What? Am I good?
Oh, my mic is messing up?
Oh, maybe it was his. Audio? Are we good? Keep talking? Okay. Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to anything else today. I've been running around fixing problems and putting out fires. But Lucid, not a bad ride. I think Rivian's been rather quiet today. You can pull that up, but not a lot of automotive news on my radar in the last 24 hours. What's he? Anyway, I think we're gonna move to the rundown with Sharif shortly. Everybody so short?
I think shortly is Sharif's in shorts.
We're all in shorts.
I wore shorts yesterday. It was colder this morning, man.
It was beautiful.
What do you mean beautiful? It was, okay, when I walked out my door, it was below room temperature, all right? It was 20 degrees.
You're Canadian.
Which if you're in the US, that's like, it was like 60, was it 67, whatever that works out to.
Who cares?
No, I'm not. Look, man, I may be born in Canadian, but I have West Indian blood, which I'm going to show you some of. My mom was determined to make me cry in the middle of the day because she just started peppering our WhatsApp chat with all these like older pictures. And it was great. It was just completely out of nowhere. She sent a bunch, and which had me like a little bit choked up. But anyways, we're supposed to do the run. See, Sean's not in shorts. Cool. Randy's not in shorts.
What the hell do you want?
We're supposed to call you Randy.
How's it going, Sean? You look more handsome. You look more handsome than usual.
Well, it is what it is. Old age.
I know it is what it is.
Old age is setting in though.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good. Nice.
Little tan
No receding hairline or anything?
No.
Not yet. Nah.
Well, all right. You guys haven't even started the rundown yet? I was hoping to come back like at 3:30 or something, and then I'd only have to do
Get out of
it.
here then.
Okay, all right.
You got to get out of here
All right,
because there can only be
with the
one.
rundown. You did log in, but didn't you log in as me? You didn't log in as me.
not.
Why not? I told you the password and everything.
You gotta-
You're too late.
Oh,
Yeah, but now
okay.
he has to log out and back.
It's okay. It's all good.
Give me a coffee, will you?
What do you take?
You know what I take. Okay, rundown time with Sharif.
Yeah,
See ya.
okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. I guess Randy's in for Sean, but the big boys are locked and they're loaded and they're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join Joseph and I on the midday show and get into that chat, baby, and vote for your favorite tickers every day. Super easy to vote, man. You can vote any time of the day. All you do, throw in that $sign, 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker automatically registers. Shout out to Fabian. Here's a look at the first ticker as decided by you guys, SoFi. Looking to take a page out of Robinhood's book here, looking to allow their retail clients to invest in non-publicly traded companies like your SpaceX's, your OpenAI, and your Epic Games. And the market likes that to the tune of 4%.
Yeah, well, 4%. See, the problem with that is it was a heck of a lot more than 4% earlier today. So yeah, like obviously SoFi is doing some good things. I just want to quickly, because NVIDIA is not on here, so I do want to show, as I was mentioning, that the breakout just wasn't going. Like it did press into 20 cents in the money, but it then just kind of lost out of here. So I said I was going to jump out. It kind of broke the prior high, so I'm out of it. Just gave it a relatively tight stop. It's just not going meme crazy before, like better longs were earlier. But as far as SoFi goes, SoFi was much better this morning. And this is why we're talking about the lesson of the day. It's a good reference because BBAI was very similar to it, where at the open, it broke 20, and that was, unless you were shorting it, that was your best trade. Was to just break out the 20 level. There was some chance at a continuation off VWAP, but when this lost a bid, it just continued to lose a bid, and it's trending back in. You've got to remember that SoFi has now, from the April lows, more than doubled, and the earnings aren't until the 27th, I believe, of this month, so still have a few weeks to go. with regards to that. So I love the news. I love the catalyst. I hold in the long term. As much as you'll hear me, and I like to be self-deprecating, I'll complain about SoFi all the time because of other things could have gone better. But this has been fantastic in my TFSA account. Like, I'm not saying the returns haven't been good, but my last sale, because I said if I am camping, I have an order in front of 18. I was just going to put that out there, and while I'm gone, that got filled. But I still have a pretty good core position in this thing that I'm holding essentially forever. But selling something before earnings is usually a good idea with the stock when it goes crazy. One of the strongest out there. But the 4% is very misleading, because if you didn't trade it on the break at the open, it's not as if the long was some kind of fantastic move for you to just hold it the entirety of the day. Yeah, you'd still technically be at the money, but it gave it up pretty quickly after that opening rush.
Joe, let me see that beef stroganoff, man. No, show on the show. No. If Andre, you don't have to bring it over here. There it is. Let me live a little bit higher. A little bit higher. All right. What's wrong with that? Oh, he's just not a strogy guy. Okay, not bad. All right, I'm just getting all logged back in here. We'll talk about, Tesla didn't trade it today, but it definitely an aggressive name. Look, we like SoFi. Neil just talked about all the key levels there. You don't want to I know, this is Neil saying, but look at Gift Horse. I just feel like it's gone a nice move higher right there. It's had a couple good day run. I just heard that it's doubled up since April. We talked about taking profits. I think SoFi is one of those candidates.
Random question. Yeah, this is way too random.
I like random questions.
Have you ever gone horse riding?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did it,
but not I think it's maybe when the kids were small.
An adult. So you went with the family?
Yeah. The kids, not by myself.
Oh,
or not on a vacation.
But Gia's done it and
Yeah, she's done it. Yeah, she's done that kind of stuff. And then we also did the stuff in farms and stuff where you ride as a kid on those donkeys.
Oh yeah.
Those horses.
So Aaron's done that, but I've considered. Considering actual horseback riding,
yeah,
but I have a memory of doing it when I was in Cubs and just really not liking it.
Right.
So I've just never had the desire. But
yeah, I don't think
it's kind of
we haven't gone through what you're probably talking about, where you go on a trail and all that kind of stuff.
I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, you did?
No, as a kid.
Oh, as a kid.
At Cub camp.
Well, no. What I remember is it's very. It's not that it's scary or anything, but you don't have the greatest control if you don't know what you're doing, and then it's always bucking you're always.
I didn't feel like I was in control. Anyways, I just thought I'd ask because a lot of times if Sean's daughter G is a few years older than Aaron, so I always get the idea. Well, if she enjoyed something.
She loved dirt bike riding. There's a Honda place just out west. You take I don't know what it is, but it's Honda, and you can go on these. What's it called? Maybe junior riders. But I went on it as well. Their whole family did it. They sponsored it.
That sounds a little bit better.
It was intense.
I just give the Weebay look.
That was crazy.
And if you've seen The Wire, you know what I'm talking about. We're supposed to be talking about Tesla next. Sorry about the horseback riding.
No, that's a good question.
So the things come to my mind, and it's we're here. We're just gonna ask.
And insurance better claim. Yeah. So no, I don't know. Yesterday, I just got a Canada Life assessment notice. So I can figure out if they're covering because my dental thing. It was just a cleaning.
Oh.
But you only get, we don't have the greatest dental program. You only get a certain amount of units or whatever per year. So I don't even want to click on it. They charged me $57 because that was the percentage or whatever, and then they were going to run it through insurance. So I don't know. Oh well,
Everyone loves a dentist.
I hate insurance. That's an argument or discussion for another day.
The
dentist was okay.
My wife has worked in the insurance. Anyways. She's in consulting, but she's been
I know, but I think that's the most hated industry in the world. Insurance. A guy literally got murdered because of it.
It's a fair statement.
It's not a fair statement. I think it's an accurate statement.
It's a fair statement. Although some of the practices of UNH and some of those healthcare, it's very different from
yes, but it's insurance still.
Yeah, it is.
And what I'm talking about is an insurance claim, and I think that's what we're talking about, right? So, but no, not.
I'll try not to badmouth them too much.
Oh no, it's not about badmouthing it.
No, it's true. It's true. I'm not.
And we can all work for criminals, right, Randy? Side business. Lucid. What? Now we're talking about
what criminal activity are you guys talking about?
Oh, there's too much, man. Too many side businesses happening all over the place. Yeah, maybe we should. Are we live yet, by the way? Okay, so, Lucid, what? Up 11%, Randy? The Saudis right now bringing this stock right back to where it was May 30th. right here. There's Lucid, nice little upside move. Okay, well, let's find out what's going on there with LCID. Kaboom, says Randy. All right, what's up, Sharif?
Well, kind of Tesla, Sean, going on 3%. You know, still a bigger negative day yesterday. The shorts made a cool 1.4 billion in one day, shorting TSLA. No news on it, guys, but it fell yesterday aggressively on news over the weekend that Elon Musk was starting his own political party, the America Party.
The America Party. You know what? And this is a good point for anyone that gets really bearish on Tesla. And I understand if you compared to where it was last week, Tesla's not up. Like it's still pretty heavily down. But if we're just observing not the overnight action when the news happened over the weekend of the America Party, and obviously the market wanting Elon to be focused.
Look at me,
America. At the open, it was 15 minutes of selling yesterday, and then buy, and then support, and then closing near the highs. Then a gap up and a break of 300. Okay, fine, it didn't go past 304, like the first level of resistance, but then support back at 300. The response so far has been 2 days of consolidative buying with a little breakout play outside of the first 15 minutes and some pre-market action yesterday. That's not a bad thing at all. That said, there's still a long way to go before this looks much better. Show me a Mag 7 name under the 200 period moving average. And, well, I mean, right, other than Tesla, and you'd win a prize. Obviously, not a single one of them is. And, well, the only one that's, I think, even close to it might be Apple, and even that's above. So it is looking relatively weak. The worst part is I look over here, it just gave you the golden cross and then broke down lower. Which sometimes, hey man, if people go long off things like the golden cross or short on the death cross, sometimes it gives a little bit extra juice in the other direction as those short-term swing traders get stopped out. So I think it needs to recover a little bit more before you feel good, but so far so good. It was a good breakout trade. Maybe it should have been more than just a breakout because it did bounce off VWAP. Maybe I shouldn't have been putting my makeup on at that time as it bounced clean off VWAP.
Yeah, no, always something going on. What's up, Hypercube right here? It says, how much of a super chat is required to serve beef strogie for the rest of the week? I can't control what these guys bring.
I think we have to give a lot of advance notice with the caterer, and I don't think they do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could order Joe's special beef stroganoff.
Well, where can we get beef stroganoff
lots
from?
Of places,
local?
Man. Oh yeah, lots of places. Yeah, I'm sure. I can find a place that.
But you don't. The problem is you don't want it to be really good.
To get other food, apparently. So, anyways, okay. So what's up? He doesn't mind beef stroganoff. I just think he doesn't really like this one.
That's yeah.
Oh, and period.
Oh, at all.
Okay. This is what Joe says. If I had a fork, he'd be like, "I don't like beef stroganoff. You know, I don't prefer it." But
not that bad. As he's literally mowing it down. I don't like it.
You know, that's what I'm saying. He's just like, well, man, there's a big problem here over here. I got some on my shirt. Oh, shit. Yeah, Joe, this guy's too much. Okay, yeah, look, I mean, Tesla, good stock, up there at 3%. We talked about this. At some point, this riffraff is going to stop, and, you know, this party's not going to exist, and we're just going to move on to what Tesla is. And I think that we all understand and enjoy the fact that robo-taxis are around the corner. And, yeah, again, like the stock here, it's always in the morning time, or I guess in the first half hour or so every day, there's always this back and forth and up and down. With Tesla. And then I feel like once it breaks that range, then you kind of got the idea for the rest of the day. And I think the rest of the day is going to be long. And there we go, dipping off VWAP. I think that would have been a great opportunity. But yeah, that's the thing. Once you break the pre-market move and you're well outpacing the market, you know, this is the stock that you want to look at. So Tesla long the rest of the afternoon. I don't think I'd want to be short this name. I mean, if the market comes back in, then obviously the shorts are going to win. But if the market comes back in, I think there's probably better shorts than Tesla. I think it's working, and no reason not to. Momentum in the stock seems to be pretty strong today anyways, as we just held VWAP. So that's kind of the locate there. We'll wait to see what Tesla winds up doing. But I would think another VWAP test of 300 probably incoming, and that would be a buy.
Looking like a buy program right now, guys, on Intel, up 7.5%. We got this headline, I believe yesterday, it came in, wasn't disseminated all that much in the market, but they are looking, sadly, at laying off over 500 people at their Oregon plant there. The market liking that, and there you go, price action, taking out recent highs, guys.
So, like, I think someone in our chat said it earlier, that it just looks like it's a buy program, and the news repackaging an old story. Okay, so I have a theory about what happened, and I don't think it's my theory. I think it's just a little bit of common sense, because even NDRA pointed this out. The Bloomberg article linked you to a story from weeks ago. So what likely happens there is Intel's going crazy, therefore lots of people looking at Intel, eyeballs on it. Bloomberg's like, well, we need some clicks, so they just simply put out a story regarding it and link to an old article, and then a bunch of people are like, this is what's driving Intel today. So I'd rather just say I don't know why it's moving today. And when I didn't know, my plan was to look for a couple mean reversions. I love how this is like actually like the first 5 trades from the day was SoFi, Tesla, Intel, BBAI, and CoreWeave. The first 3 for me, and then I think Sean's 2. But this one I only wanted 2 places in front of 23, and then in front of this. I didn't catch it in front, but on the way back underneath that 23 1/3. So when it failed that and popped back up, I went to play short underneath there. And Intel's still going. Like, it's wild. That said, it's not the only chip name that's getting a bit of a run. So it's going with the group, which is strong relative to the overall market. And keeping in mind, this is now another leg of the breakout on Intel. Like, it's held that 18, 19 on the daily. All the bad news has come in. It's like, well, how much can it really get any worse? For them at this point, it hasn't seemed like it can. You got a new CEO that's trying to turn things around. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but certainly trimming and focusing on catching up is a big deal for them. There's still a lot they need to do to succeed. Their foundry business is still bleeding money, and it's going to be a couple of years, actually an extra year longer before they actually turn any profitability there, and that's from their mouths, right? And it's going to take them a while. That said, it seems like the bottom has come in. You're back above the 200-period moving average. Breaking it hasn't been an issue. Keeping it has been a huge problem for this stock. Since it really fell apart under 40, that was that failure at the $50 a while back. Since then, you've been above the 200. You've held above for a little bit, but what you haven't done is made a higher low and then broken out above it. This is actually happening for the first time. You broke the 200 period. You've held above the 200 period. You're breaking out above the 200 period. I hate to say it, but should have been looking until long 23 in a deeper examination. But I mean, I was more focused on NVIDIA today, so it's NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, Intel, that's the thing. I've learned, when stocks are doing this, like, I don't actually want, I mean, Neil got in and out twice on the shore, which is good. He didn't wind up holding it. So once you're wrong, you got to get out. And that's the one thing I'm learning over and over again, even though I've been here 23 years. It's, you don't want to stand in the way of strong stocks. And I mean, Intel today, you don't even need a story. You don't need a story with any stock. You just need to watch the price action. And right there goes Intel. Huge move higher. Again, really happy with that. Pretty soon there has to be some taken off the table by myself, because I didn't take anything. We're long 19 and change. I didn't take anything out the last couple of times we got into this 26, 27 area. So 100%, if there's an actual story of more significance that comes out tomorrow and bumps the stock or now or whatever, and we get another 7% move, I am out of Intel somewhere around here if we can get it, and that money will go to work in an index or something. I'm going to be done with this stock. I mean, if it goes back up, great. I mean, that's fantastic. But for me, out at least half. We'll start to play then with house money, and if it continues to ride up, fine. We're free rolling just like we are on Big Bear AI, which is up next.
Look for Big Bear today, at least initially, guys. That's, I think, the second or third failed break of $8 here on Big Bear AI. What I noticed, though, are the higher lows. It's been running up since last week after announcing its participation in Project Convergence Capstone 5, which is an experiment allowing multinational forces, guys, to test the next generation of command and control systems. The market likes that, but down 0.2% on the day.
All right, look, guys. Not only was I talking about Big Bear AI for the last couple of weeks, we also did a bull case on it. Someone asked me about it. I talked for a couple minutes on it. You guys really enjoyed that. That's when it was at $3, $4. Right now it's at $8. We posted this earlier here today as well. I said, let's watch out for this $8 break. If it happens, we're going long. Like, I don't know. This is not like, you know, maybe this might happen or what sort of the trade is here. We're adding BBAI and the break of $8 on the sticky note. It pretty clear there. So when it happened, man, it was great. And it's going to be a big stock. July's early, but this will be my number one P&L name here over July. And it's really just this one trade as we go up to 870. And we really cleaned out. The majority of this all came out at 860. And then as you guys know, we did hold our last 5% and got out right there at 820 on the way back down. And then out. So, you know, you always want to take advantage of these spikes. We see it from Tisha in the chat. We see it from everybody there when we talk about, you know, especially when you're trading bigger shares, like you just don't want, like I told you, the number one P&L name here of the month is going to be Big Bear AI. And it's just like, I don't want this to happen. And then you're looking back and you're like, look, if it's an insignificant amount of money or whatever, fine. You know, you can try to wait for the moon and maybe you get 100% move up, right? But a lot of these stocks these days that are moving up like that, they actually have some sort of crypto news or a beat as far as like it's a pharmaceutical and they got a trial, they got some sort of approval, or there's a buyout rumor, or on Big Bear AI, we don't really have anything other than, you know, they've got a few deals with some airports and, you know, their software, again, analyzing data and putting it to work. I don't, you know, I love the name for a long-term hold, but it's at those levels that we already talked about cashing out. So, you know, here live on the show, I said to you, I'm going to throw it to Neil. I'm going to cash out of some Big Bear AI. So that's what we did in and around 859. It was 858, 859. And we got out. So we got out of, I don't know what we had, maybe 15% or so of that. We got out one piece back here at 7 and change, another piece up here at 8 and change. So we're long down here, out up here. Like I can't do it any better. It's a stock that we talked about. Told you it was in the swing account. It was for this play. So we're really happy about Big Bear AI, although right now it's breaking lower. So I would stay away from this. And if anything now, it's like, it looks like a great short. But we're already out, and that's why you don't have to worry about it. The only thing that we're in right now is CoreWeave, which of course is $4 in the money. So we've got CoreWeave will be the biggest stock today, or sorry, BBI will be the biggest stock, and CoreWeave here will probably be number 2. But we're going to talk about that in, well, or right away. I don't know if you have anything about.
Well, I'll say basically one thing. I don't care what your trading strategy is on a breakout. We talked about this for different types of breakouts. SoFi had a breakout with a pullback that held flat support here, and this is all simply saying is like these can go all these different ways. SoFi can be an early breakout that holds a support level very cleanly and then breaks and then loses it. You can see it turns short. Robinhood can be something that breaks out same way off the open, like quick move, like $2-3, and the next candle is immediately giving it all back, and then you're pulling back for the rest of the day. Or BBAI. It's like you've got it. Like, to me, just as long as you're taking profit. This one was a bit different in that it ended up being a trend break. Now, if you're not looking short, you're not taking it. But when it broke the trend, from then, it just turns into a short. Breakout trades, especially at 9:30, are the kind of, sometimes the best candle is the open candle on that move. So often, even if it continues going, the best candle is the open candle. And you've got to make sure that you're taking profit away. And when it does break trend, and ultimately, I didn't short SoFi and I didn't short this, but you can risk to reward. These are good shorting opportunities because if it fills in the gap, that's huge. But you've got to be very patient with it. You got to let it break that trend for it to be able to do it. And that's sort of the thing. Like some things you'll be able to hold the entire time on that initial candle. Oftentimes, the one with the parabolic move, it's not always the one that's going to be the continuation play. A lot of times, it's something that did like rinsed people at the bottom and shorts and then went is an all day long, as weird as that might seem.
Am I on? Okay, sorry, I can't see the screen, guys, on any of the screens. Okay, so the last one here, CoreWeave. So looking to acquire a company yesterday as well as Mizuho. Thank you, guys. Downgrading CoreWeave to neutral, but raising the price target up to $150. So CoreWeave will acquire Core Scientific in an all-stock deal for what they say is to boost profitability and expand their data center capacity, boys.
I don't know if Sharif skips legs day or normally or not, but maybe it's today. Sports and Stocks wants to know about that. I think today, I think every day is leg day, I think, around here.
You work out that much.
Shout out to the guy there. Okay, yeah, look, I mean, this is what I was saying before. I could either do something or talk about it. We did it. So there it is on CoreWeave, man. There's the play. There's the short. We talked about it. We loved it. It's exactly what Sharif said. We hit it because it was downgraded. We hit it because that deal yesterday. There goes CoreWeave, man. It's a monster. We just covered some more there for $4.25. So it's a downside play there for CRWV. And yeah, boom goes the dynamite. I know that we've talked about it, Sharif, especially on the midday show. They were talking about options and things like that for CoreWeave. I do think it eventually comes back in. I mean, we made the same call for Circle. I made the same call for some quantum plays, uranium and that. But yeah, CoreWeave again. It's done a pretty good job of holding in and around 150, to be honest with you. I would have thought it would have came in a little bit, and when it did try to come in, it kind of was bought back up here at 145 before making all-time highs again over there at 190. So I'm just playing the news. We're just holding on. I mean, this could be it. Like I said, even the amount of shares that I still have on board is still enough, you know, to be happy with on a day, but we've already covered everything, man. We have less than 10% left of this CoreWeave trade, but again, we're trading bigger, and it's good. And CoreWeave today, more than I would have expected. It was on, and again, if you guys were wondering like where I come up with these things, and again, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm putting them on here and trading this way, right? So there's CoreWeave right there. It's the short. We talked about the Big Bear AI. We talked about the well, we didn't talk about BAC short. We talked about the 290 there for Tesla, but that didn't come into play. And then the TQs was the short in the market. Maybe I'll have to look at that as we're a little bit back up now here. I wonder what that level was there, but I don't think we're at 85 for the TQs. But hey, man, it's just trading, and I think we're doing pretty good at it. CoreWeave down 4%. It's your trade of the day. It's CoreWeave.
Yeah, whichever, I mean, like every single one on that list is something that's on the note or went crazy. Like Intel did something, I think, distinctly different, so you want to be looking at it. For anyone, if you're ever trading, from now on, at least until it closes, if you're trading between CoreWeave and cores, if you don't have locates, presumably, I can't speak for all brokers, obviously here at Real Trading, CoreWeave is very cheap to be able to go short. There's a good chance that cores is going to have free locates. Of course, this is who they're buying. And essentially, it's like 0.1235 shares. That's the exchange. That's what you get of CoreWeave. So what you're going to notice is how distinctly similar the charts are. So like what I would say is anybody that's looking at, like for some reason, if you want to execute a trade on CoreWeave and you can't go short, well, you can flip the cores. And it's not going to follow it exactly. There's obviously, time the deal takes close and some other factors in there, but overall they are going to follow very closely to each other. And I don't know, like there might be sometimes a little bit of a lag. Oftentimes at the open you can see stuff like that because there's a lot of volume coming in, but other than that there's really not much other than just you're going to see them closely mirror each other. If they get too far out of whack for whatever reason and there's no news, then that can also be an opportunity, at least until this deal closes. I don't recall seeing any date for when that will happen. But till it does, I know we had free locates on CoreWeave. It's a great trade in CoreWeave. Free locates on cores, but had to pay for CoreWeave is what I meant to say. And just one more note, you're going to see me in DraftKings. There was a story of a bipartisan effort to get that tax issue, blah, 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 blah. It's not, Derek came with it, and at the time, DraftKings was already pretty strong. And it was just breaking out, and it's really just holding 42.30, which is the top of the volume spike, but not really doing much of anything. So it's not like it's crazy volume. Like you can see, there was a volume spike on the news, and then volume completely died down. That said, it's not as if it's 4.5% when the market's not doing anything, which I like. But DraftKings is also it's running into this bit of resistance here around the 43. So I'm just looking for one push to break the half, kind of get me in front of the 43 and then just jump out of the trade. This needs to break out 43, half, 44 before the next leg happens. You can see the selling that's already been there. So yeah, there was a story and there was a good move on it initially, but it's really just in kind of a scalp mode for sure. Bobby Axelrod, I see you in the chat. We'll get to that question because a lot of people asked about Wolf. We got to go to Adara first.
I'm going to quickly opine here on DraftKings, or not opine, but give a little bit more context. So apparently, according to this report from Front Office Sports, there was a representative here from Nevada who yesterday introduced the Fair Bet Act, basically, I guess, trying to seek to restore the ability for gamblers to deduct 100% of their losses against their gains. And again, there is bipartisan support for this bill, even by a Republican who was actually in favor of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So interesting story here. I just wanted to provide a little bit of color. Also, copper on watch, as we know here, with that 50% copper tariff. FCX, which is an American mining company, they do some copper. Nice push to the upside on that story. But we also have some more commentary coming out here from Chile's foreign ministry saying that they haven't received any info from their counterparts indicating the implementation of an effective tariff on copper. And I have to address this because it just came out. TSLA actually pushing higher, but Elon Musk apparently, from what I'm seeing here on X, making some more commentary about Trump and not in a good way. Back to you.
And Tesla going higher off of that. Okay.
All right. Well,
I haven't seen the comments. I'll
yeah,
maybe
we have no idea what the comments are.
I'm going to take a look in a second, but I did want to get to Bobby Axelrod's Wolf question here. I don't think Bobby Axelrod would actually, and if Bobby Axelrod from Billions, if he traded Wolf, then believe me, he's already out when it makes the dead cat bounce. Or they're shorting it to you know what because they're a hedge fund. But at the end of the day, look, Wolf, I'll kind of tap you in. It's like, is a Wolf ride over, profit-taking, blah day all around? I would agree. It's up 11%. Again, that's deceiving because in the pre-market, this was up, I don't know, 40, I think 47, 48% at the most. But there's something that a lot of day traders and a lot of traders in the general sense, when they look at small cappers and they look at big time runners, will indicate for when it's a short. And that will be like the third day gap up and run in the pre-market, right? So you'll have like a 3-day run, 1 day, 2, third day, it's gapping higher, it's run into highs into the pre-market, and then that's like the sell opportunity. And it's patented. And what happens is a lot of times, like you'll look at the daily chart and it's something which, oh my goodness, the bottom is in, they're not going bankrupt, this could go to $10, it could go to $6, and maybe it will. But a lot of times what effectively happens is you get those that are in early, that sometimes want to take a little bit of profit, but others waiting for that moment to pounce for a short-term short on the people that have chased. And in the pre-market, like you've got chasers all the way above $3 in here. And so when it comes at the open and it's back into 3, it's like, oh, if it loses that, you're in a bit of trouble. And that's the way they look at it. If it makes that pre-market high, lower high, and then fails at the open, it's like they just hammer it and hold it, knowing full well that all the late shorts here on the third day just get a little bit trapped. It doesn't necessarily mean the move is over, but you also have to remember, yeah, that's great. They've made a switch up. They made a switch up in the executives, and they got a new COO, I believe. But they also had going concern issues when this was 50 cents a week ago. So how much do you believe in them fundamentally if you're not treating this as a trade? If you're treating it as a trade, then, have a trailing stop, all that good stuff. Maybe the 50-period moving average. I don't know. That's the kind of thing that I would use if I was holding on to it. Maybe your target is the 200-period. Maybe it's $5. Have an idea. But know that the risk on this, in terms of holding it for a long period of time, is right back to 50 cents or to the OTC markets. And if that's something that you're cool with because you've made some profit on it, yeah, no problem. But as for today, I just think it was the old 3-day rule catching up on those small cap runners. Adara, again?
ASTS here, trying to make a little bit of a bounce. So we have an account here on X. This post has since been shared. They're basically speculating that ASTS here, AST Space Mobile, and Apple could potentially be partners. I want to clarify there's always a lot of speculation like this for some of these names with a lot of retail attention. ASTS does also have about a 28% short float. But basically, the impetus for this argument is that apparently Apple was referenced as a partner in a job posting for STCS Mobile about 2 weeks ago. And then apparently an executive posted on LinkedIn recently, also including Apple as a partner in their post, but then edited it after. So there's some speculation. They're soon going to be announcing Apple as a partner, regardless of the details. ASTS on pure speculation. Nice little push there. Back to you.
All right, so thanks, Adara. Yeah, today's markets are, are kind of going back and forth on the tension that there is as far as the tariffs are concerned, right? I mean, the Nasdaq really can't get going. We talked about that earlier. It's just pretty flat. I mean, we had some excitement there early, and then not much else happening right now as we still look to be underneath the 50-period moving average and get a little bit lower. Yields today starting to get to the upside there on the bonds, so we could see, we'll talk about the US dollar a little bit. Today there was clean energy pressure, of course, because of some of the subsidies that have come off of these names with the big, beautiful bill there. So down another 1% here today as the TAN ETF names like First Solar and Sunrun, things like that continue to get hit here on, in today's market. So got to be careful with that. There's First Solar down again another little bit. They've had a nice little run back upside there, but we'll wait to see where First Solar wants to go. We also had news today as FCX and tariff news again with copper. They're looking at, what was it, 50% or so for copper? So FCX there, again, a huge U.S. import or producer of copper. And if it's going to be more expensive to import and you're going to add a tariff, then you're going to want to buy things domestically. That's the whole point. So, of course, FCX upside, right? Very similar to, U.S. steel is going to get bought out, but there's going to be, or it is already, isn't it? It's gone.
Yeah,
that's the other one would be, the big one would be Nucor. And again, I'm in Nucor. I've been in this name. This is just, I own like 30 names, which is what I'm talking about. I got to tighten that ship up a little bit, but there it goes. Again, aluminum producer here, 140, 141 on Nucor. So we like that one. Steel, producer in the United States, the largest domestic steel producer. So if we think that there's going to be some more tariff talk and potentially more protectionism, then yeah, I think this name looks like it wants to break through this 145. And you want to talk about, again, a sloping up 50-period moving average. If you do not have time for ETFs or anything like that, you want to get into a name. I think this could be one, especially if we get some more talk about steel. But remember, that's overhanging in Canada as well. There could be some more talk with Canada, which could send Nucor the other way, just because. All right, so Amazon today obviously kicks off Prime Day. So shout out to everybody that's looking for some Prime deals. Let me know in the chat what Prime deals you guys are looking at, because I'm not looking at any for right now, and there's always something we probably need to buy. Maybe update the Ring cameras or something. There seems to be always what's on sale. But then we get that story right there just before we went off the air that Amazon was seeing a decline in traffic and sales so far here on their first day of Prime. So you can see Amazon making that move back in there, now down 1.54%. Again, I really like the stock. I want this thing to come back in to buy more because it's a story of AWS. There's lots of stories here with Amazon that can continue to work out. And plus, they also have a Starlink competitor that they're working on.
They've got everything.
Yeah, they got everything. They got EVs. There's a new EV thing that they're trying to do as well. So far, so good on that one. And then the other one is tonight we have a little bit of earnings. We have AEHR right here. Oops, wrong chart. AEHR right there. So we'll find out about Air test systems coming through tonight. So they've been on a nice little run. I don't know what's going to happen here, but this is the one tonight. You can join myself and Brian, Shannon, and Adara tonight as we'll talk about all of these. And then we had Uber also at all-time highs today, breaking through that night. Well, wait a minute. I thought it broke. Yeah, it's still at all time. Yeah, okay, it still is. Yeah, I was going to say, I know 98 was key, but we bounced off of that. So, look at this move, man. What a rocket ship there to the upside. I know we both have Uber shares, and I don't really necessarily want to get out of them. I basically loaded up when I got back from London, which was last summer, which was right in here. I wasn't here part of this Japan day there where everything fell apart in again, fixed income. So I was gone right there. But when I got back, that's the Uber low. I wish I could have got it, but I took the Uber boats in London, and it was right there on the river. And I thought it was a great great experience.
What do they actually call that though?
River, I think it's called Uber Boats.
Oh, it is? Doesn't sound cool enough.
I could check, but like when I opened up the Uber app there, it opened up, it was like an option. Like here you have Uber Eats and Uber basically, but it was, I don't know, anybody that's in London proper, they're downtown on the river. There's a whole bunch of different stops. We took it back and forth, up and down, and it was great. We only did it one day, but I thought it was pretty convenient. You could buy a cappuccino on there. It was great. So I was just like, you know what? Uber's everywhere, man. I want to buy the stock. And so, yeah, we're long. Our average price is in the 60s. We're able to buy a little bit, then buy some more, and then
it is called
blast us up to the upside. Is it called Uber Boat?
No, that's it's confirmed in the chat. The chat's undefeated with these. So I'm gonna trust Ralph in the chat because I don't think you'd pipe up because you could have just looked it up. I could have done so.
Yeah.
When you can ask the viewers, it's so much easier. It's called Uber Boat. But just very quickly, there's a couple questions in here. And Gary, I'm not going to forget about your super chat. I did see it. I just wanted to acknowledge this. And I was going to say something, but I didn't want to interrupt as you were talking about Freeport and whatnot and some of the tariffs, because I want to make a comment about MP materials, because I think that pullback is getting to almost be enough. Rare earth metals, things aren't settled. They're the only U.S. Name that you can look at. So MP, I think, is a good one. But Gary, you've been watching Trader TV from the end of 2020, so almost the beginning, because we came to YouTube, I believe, in the beginning of it was right at the beginning of COVID. I want to say almost right as the lockdowns were happening, to be honest.
Yeah.
To the month, I think, because we had one of our, it was the trading floor manager at the time. I don't know, I'm chuckling, but he was visiting China.
Our trading floor had managers. Maybe that's what you're.
No, but remember, he was visiting China and he got stuck there. And then one of our
I remember. It was
and
more
we had a Zoom interview with him, and he was talking about how he was stuck in China. That's why I remember. It was one of the first Zoom interviews that we had. It was, and that was obviously a really good time to come back to the market. But the more important thing is, Gary, you've confirmed a 25K Flexi funded account. I don't know what that is, but congratulations. Everyone at Trader TV is amazing. The knowledge I learned is unreal. Shout out to you. Again, appreciate the super chat there. If you ever just want to engage with us, remember the chat. I don't know why I do the different top chat and live chat. I always want to see live chat. I feel like it's the same
top
thing.
Chat, yeah, I think maybe like people that are posting more. I don't know.
I always want to see everybody. Look, you can always just right here about Bavin, you just tag us, and it's an easy way. We appreciate the super chats, but just jump on, hit the subscribe. It's a subs-only chat. Hit the like, pass it on, share, everybody, and then we can answer all your questions. All I wanted to get at with MP Materials was, again, I think this is a classic pullback into prior highs, and now that you're breaking the trend, this looks like it has a good move right back into the 39 level. And I also think this is good for the long term. In Mayank, India has Uber rickshaw.
Yeah, of course.
Which, yeah, makes sense. Uber's absolutely everywhere. That's why we like the stock.
Yeah, we do like the stock there. And I remember I like Amazon. We talked about why we like Amazon too. Last year I spent, I think it was 12 grand on Amazon for the year.
I try not to look.
Ridiculous. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs, featuring, of course, we talk about this, the built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. I mean, also just scan that QR code right there. Check our link in the description as well. Getting excited. It's date night part 2 again. We went out yesterday, had a little Summerlicious action, smash burgers. We talked about that. I had this wicked pretzel ice cream thing. She had the hot brownie. But today we're sitting on a patio in Yorkville. So, yeah, we need to find some money trades. I mentioned the restaurant to Ramin, and she was like, I think that's where Drake pulls up. So I'm like, wow, then I better tell my bodyguards to keep him away from me because
Which one?
The place he's going to, it's called One, where we're going tonight. So
that is.
Yeah, if he pulls up there, you better give me a hug. What's up, Adara?
But he's not like us.
Nope, good one.
Yeah, here is WRBY. You can also look at LUCY. These are both eyeglass-related names. Warby is Warby Parker. Lucy here is Innovative Eyewear. I'm seeing here apparently Meta is buying a minority stake in EssilorLuxottica, worth roughly $3.5 billion. Apparently, the goal of this is to advance its smart glasses initiative. It's unclear yet if this is a report or if it's confirmed by the company. If I get any details or if it changes anything, I'll let you know. But either way, I'm seeing here circulated around X that Meta is buying a minority stake in EssilorLuxottica, worth roughly $3.5 billion. Eyewear and glasses-related stocks are moving higher. Also, I believe the Drake restaurant that he goes to is Carbone. Unclear if he also goes to one, but I know Carbone is the one that's talked about a lot. Back to you.
Carbone, he actually talks about in one of his songs, God's Plan, he talks about the street that I live off of as well. So his mother taught at the school that my eldest went to. So shout out to Toronto.
Toronto boy.
There as well.
Yeah, Apple's, that is not really moving on.
Drake, anyways. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, Meta today, I don't know if people
just simply say, like, Meta's not going to move on that much at all. Like, Meta, and again, someone said in the chat, oh, it's inside days aren't that much fun in the markets. Well, when you saw the rundown, it was basically 5 stocks that really moved, and those were the ones, not that they were the only things you could trade. There was probably lots of other things that moved, but they're like individual stocks with their own catalysts and stories. Like I said, are the things that you really want to focus on. Because ultimately, when this kind of chop action is happening, a trader does not want to be over trading in this kind of a mess. Like, you want to find something, grip and rip it. Like, and if you have a catalyst, fantastic. If you don't, then you can afford to be patient for sure. No question about it. And Zuck has too much money, says Rivian Millionaire. Good. I'm down with it.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm not one of those.
No, he makes like a couple $100 million in dividend payments yearly.
Yeah, like it's like I'm not like there's always conversations to be had about tax this and that, but then just remember, like, that's a very complicated argument that has more to do with not income but wealth and the way the tax code goes. So I never really want to get into that. But at the end of the day, like, as a shareholder, these guys print cash and they know how to generate cash, and they're able to do it with aggressive spending. I mean, they're throwing a lot of money around and being very aggressive when it comes to AI, and Apple has had a little bit of a different approach. And which one is winning? It's nothing against Apple. Apple has been an unbelievably good stock, but it sort of speaks for itself here. Oh, there was something, it was Berkshire we never talked about. When I say Apple, there was a conversation about Berkshire Hathaway and a question right before we came on, and then Randy was here, and I didn't really get a chance to address it, but it was the first thing I was going to discuss. On a weekly chart of Berk B up, this has not held underneath the 50-period moving average on a weekly, and it just broke the 200 on a daily. This has not held beneath that since, and this goes back to, why can't you read that? Sorry, I had that off of my e-signal there. This goes back to March of 2023. If we were to close this at the beginning of the month, so obviously it's pretty early, but if we close this month under, this becomes a big breakdown on the daily and the weekly chart. I think there's going to be, and remember the top being, of course, when the announcement of Warren Buffett giving a date when he's leaving and stepping down, that was the top. This is probably going to be one of the bigger opportunities to get into Berkshire, but I could see this going further. If that happens on the monthly chart, then I see some more lows. At the end of the day, you always knew he was going to leave, so I don't think it's the end of the world. But when your rotation goes back into tech and risk, sometimes you get a little bit of that. You have Warren Buffett leaving. There's a lot working into this. But if we close this month underneath, this could have a little bit more room to go. Why did I just hear Warby Parker? There's a lot of eyewear news.
I don't know. There's Tesla right here. Elon Musk tells Dan Ives to shut up right here because Dan Ives trying to get involved again, of course, about telling the board to step in and take control of this before this gets. Take control of what, man? I mean, this is the world's richest man doing whatever he wants with the company that he created. So, hey, how's it going? But yeah, Tesla right now today, we're going to see, man, it's up 3%, and we're going to figure out where it's going from here. But tells longtime Tesla bull Dan Ives literally to shut up Dan right now. And, you know, Dan Ives said when the clock strikes midnight, it's time for the board to have it lay out a plan for shareholders. So, yeah, I would say shut up also to that. Let Tesla do its own thing here. But obviously, you know, that guy's called Tesla to the moon. So we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But that's what's going on in the news stories right now, as Tesla is still up 3%, a great day for TSLA. But, you know, if they start getting downgraded and analysts don't start to like the stock, obviously that will be momentum the wrong way. But I think the Tesla bulls will come out and rally this stock. So I'm not, you know, I don't think adding fuel to the fire for Tesla bulls is going to work for Mr. Danny Ives right now. But all right. Oh, it's because Lucy, L-U-C-Y, is the innovative eyewear.
Oh, they're just all going.
Yeah, and so some of these names starting to get higher right now as well. So yeah, that's what's going on right there as far as that Tesla story is concerned. Yeah, Bitcoin right now, 109 and change here going. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with iBit right there, taking out those tops of 62.1, 62 and change. So Bitcoin right now looking like it wants to break out on the day, which is real nice. Hopefully that can get going. I was thinking, I know there's a lot of traders around here that are pretty heavily, I guess, I'm not sure why exactly, but into Bitcoin extremely. It's near all-time high, so very similar to Nasdaq. I think it's one of the things, well, Joe and Sharif, I guess. For me, it's like a couple points of my account is iBit, like points, like under 5.
If you add them all up, it's for me, it's almost 7. But like I consider that pretty big. But
yeah, so 7's huge. You should, I mean, you're not supposed to hold anything more.
Oh, I know. My intention was for it to only be 5, but I never really sell.
And you must be buying to add to it because
I have it. I added at 77. I added at 92 something. Like on the daily chart. We'll go to the daily chart in a second because right now I know you're looking at the iBit. Yeah. And you know, before we look, man, like, it's just I can just finish the whole thought.
Yeah.
This is the daily chart of Bitcoin. So when it did this breakout, the only places I was interested in buying made the all-time high. There was your initial support. I'm like, I'll buy in front of that. I think I got 92 something. I always do stupid prices like 92, 420 or some nonsense like that is kind of what I play with. And then when it bounced off that prior low, like the 75, I think I bought like 76. And that's all I do. That being said, when you're doing like a proper management, like what I should be doing is taking out a couple of points at the high, which I can't bring myself to do. And I'll admit it, to bring it back down to 5% or somewhere in that range, I'm just kind of like, but it's going to break out and then I'll do it then. So yeah, that's not always a wise thing, but it is what I'm doing. Like, yeah, I usually would trim, and I'm like that. Like, I usually trim things. Like, I trimmed Eli Lilly when it got too big of a percentage. That's how I roll. I'm just not doing it with Bitcoin because I keep thinking we're going to break out this top. It doesn't happen, but ultimately, you know, sometimes you make decisions that are a little bit different from your plan because you have a bit of a gut feel. But I wouldn't let it get out of hand. Like, I wouldn't let this get back under 100 without trimming anything. Let's go to Adara.
An update on that Meta eyewear story in case you guys missed it. LUCY and that would be Innovative Eyewear and Warby Parker, all these glasses names moving higher. Basically, Bloomberg reported that Meta bought a stake for $3.5 billion in EssilorLuxottica. They are the maker of Ray-Bans. That stake is a roughly 3% stake. So again, just a little bit of context. As I said earlier, it was unclear if this is a report or if it was confirmed. Right now, it's just a report from Bloomberg. I also want to talk here about that Dan Ives comment. That post and Elon Musk's "Shut Up, Dan" response were from hours ago. Elon posted it at 11:56 a.m. Eastern. So I just wanted to give some clarification. Also, though, as alluded to by you guys, already the Tesla bulls have completely defended Elon. So that happened during the midday. Back to you.
There you go. I know the story even before it comes out of her mouth right there. So thanks to Dara for that one. As I said, the Tesla bulls would come back and support that stock. So they did it immediately. So thanks to Dara for doing that. Hey, what's up, Ulick here? How long have you been soaking in that CoreWeave, man? All freaking day, man. I mean, this is the #1 stock here today. It's the #1 P&L name. It is the trade of the day. And yeah, I'm going to stay in it, man. I mean, we have that. We had it a couple times as it continues to break lower. I mean, where do you want me to get out? Right now, it's $5 in the money. Let's just see if you, I mean, I have, again, the account that I can trade is in the millions. It's not, I'll just tell you what, like it is. I could put capital to work at any time. But, you know, I'm going to sit here, continue to watch out for this and see what winds up happening here on CoreWeave. So thanks for that. And what's up, Hypercube right here? Thank you so much for that. I just saw Ramin came through with some lunch, but it was not beef strogie. I asked her how was it, and she's like, she didn't grab any of that, just some noodles and veggies and stuff like that. But yeah, what's up to Hypercube? Thank you so much for this one. Check out the beef strogie at Highs. So I like Highs Steakhouse. So let's have a quick little look here. Go into this one right now and figure this out. So here's the menu. I want to see if there's a picture. Look at that. We should be getting some steak up in there. Probably a dinner menu.
I'm not getting stroganoff.
Yeah, there's gonna be stroganoff. Yeah, you're not. I'm just trying to look here. Tuna, escargot. Well, here we go. Steaks. So there you go. These are. I mean, Toronto don't play either, right? Like there's a bone in New York right there, 22 ounces for $134.99. The porterhouse. I mean, these are 22 ounces of meat. I mean, insert joke here, but there's $134.99. Here we go. Here's the House Classics. So what I'm looking for. Siri got activated there. I'm not sure why. All right, but beef Wellington, steak, gorgonzola. I love cooking the filet mignon at home. All right, I don't know if, here, maybe it's in here. Berkshire, Tuscan, organic. Yeah, so.
They don't even have it?
Yeah, I don't see it here for now, but it must be here somewhere. Maybe it could be a special at some point. Beef Neptune. It could be in here somewhere, just something a little different. But anyways, thank you so much for that too. I was calling it up so I could read it live on air, but either way, man, we will get a beef. We could do something fun with that beef stroganoff talk. I think that was a good one. And thank you so much again, obviously, for the super chat. You know, obviously it means a lot to us as we continue to trade here. So thanks to everybody for everything right there. New trader TV position, lowest P&L of the day gets strogie at Highs. Everyone else, filet.
What's so bad about stroganoff?
I don't know, but lowest P&L of the day. All right. Whatever. And people probably don't want to mention who those are, right? So, but no, we're not doing anything like that. But that is funny. I don't know. I like beef stroganoff. I don't know what like you. I don't. I mean, do you have a problem with it?
I don't have a problem.
Probably better uses of beef.
No, this is what I'm simply saying. Like, there's certain things that you like, you will eat. Right. That are okay. It's like the conversation we're having about AMD. AMD's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Right. It's just, it's not NVIDIA. That's not my go-to for beef stroganoff. But I'll eat it, and we have a salad at lunch. So like ultimately, like I'm not sitting here like I had the lunch, but not to harp on Joe. But if you hear me say I don't like to eat something and that's what lunch is, then I probably am not eating it. Like if the caterer served pineapple pizza for lunch, I'm eating out. I wouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
No, it's true.
Someone else.
If they had pizza, I wouldn't do it. AMD is a stroganoff of chip stocks. Yeah, I don't know that that's fair.
Stroganoff is better than AMD. For sure.
If we were
AMD is bad, dude. AMD is bad. It's one of the weakest. I mean, if you compare it to the best.
Okay, right? Stroganoff is down near the bottom.
Compared to what? What are we comparing? Yeah, but it's not. But it's a pasta dish. It's a beef pasta dish.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's got to be pretty low on the totem itself.
Yeah, with AMD.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
AMD and stroganoff are maybe in the same class. Yeah.
It's not Intel. You mean to tell me there's a beef dish that is? What's the beef dish that you put?
I don't know. Like what about like that? First of all, CoreWeave right now is $6. So, but someone asked me if I was holding on to this. Yeah. No, I would say like beef. You have like. What are the it's not chuck, but the burgers that are not, it's like a steak, but it's not a steak. What are they called? It's like a hamburger steak. And I don't think AMD is bad. I'm just comparing it to the other ones.
Intel's sloppy Joe. Salisbury steak is what Salisbury steak.
Yeah.
No, Salisbury steak is the bottom, and then sloppy. Sloppy Joe's.
Because you can have a high quality cut in stroganoff. I don't know, like that Highs.
Yeah, I guess
probably.
If you have a high quality cut, why are you doing stroganoff? Anyways, I
don't know.
You know, that's neither here nor there. I do want to mention. I did say, DraftKings very range bound. So if we're buying it in front, I'm getting out when it breaks that support, like very cleanly. It was a scalp trade to see if it could go, but look how far the volume weighted average price is. Like if this loses support, I don't want to be hanging on to it while it drops like a full point, which is where VWAP is, like a full point lower. on the volume weighted average price. Tesla's dropping into the volume weighted average price as well. The market's not really doing all that much in terms of the pullback. Here we go. Like this is the move right now that the market just did. So yeah, it's going down a little bit, but while that was happening, like Tesla's dropping right into the volume weighted average price precipitously. Stock that I'm actually watching for a short opportunity is Apple. I had this trade at lunchtime in VWAP, and ultimately it's like I got in and reloaded, it stopped when it broke VWAP. Probably a good decision because it broke out a little bit there going into 210, so it was probably the right call to have gotten out, but I want to jump back into this one. It's a red to green, sorry, it's a green, actually red to green, and then back to red, and then back to green, so it's holding negative one more time. And I just think the mag have been weak. Apple has been trending down. I think the poaching story doesn't necessarily matter. It's rejected 215, and as the mag go down, I think a trend down into the 50-period moving average makes sense on the daily. I just think playing the short off at 210 into the lows when we're looking at slightly trending down, I wanted to find something that's setting up here where I don't have to necessarily chase a move. I've got that VWAP in the 210 pretty close by to work off of.
All right, so we're now into power hour, and we just took a little bit more out here on CoreWeave as we keep getting lower and lower and lower. You want us to look at FICO? Sure, I don't even know what that is. Fair Isaac Corp. Yeah, that's a good one. This is this what you're talking about? $1,700 name right here. So, yeah. I don't know the story, man. FICO. All right, let's play Sharif here and just cover some news. All right, FICO right now. Okay, so Fair Isaac Corp right now. Let me have a quick look. So we just type it in here into Benzinga Pro and outperform on Fair. I don't even know what these guys do actually, so I should probably look into this first.
It's a software company.
It's a software.
I'm just looking at the details.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Good. So yeah, we can look at this together. Trading lower after director said Fannie and Freddie will allow lenders. Okay, so obviously something to do with lending here for these guys, and they're down right now. Expected to increase competition. Okay, so again, FICO, is that your FICO score? No, Fair Isaac Corp. I don't know if that's the same type of thing here. We don't have any of this stuff here in lovely Canada, but you are down a little bit right there. And I don't know, I was haven't been trading Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or doing anything like that, but I think that if you look at like an FMCC or anything like that right there, they're not moving around too much today. So Fannie and Freddie just doing stuff like this. So yeah, you know, that Fair Isaac Corp there. Don't know much about it, but thank you for asking. It's just for us, or for me anyways. And again, right, I don't know too successfully trading things with gaps like this or even spreads at all. But, you know, right here, that is $10. So for us, probably not something to trade. I think when you're looking at these kind of names, again, and like I'm here to trade everything. You guys see that. And by the way, like we talk about this, I've only traded 2 names today. So yeah, but right now, FICO, if you're going to trade on news, I think you got to get it going early. I think you want to trade that real early, get it going, and then if you're right, you'll have these kind of moves to the downside. So FICO there, you know, thanks for asking, but that's a name that, again, look at this, as we still go lower, like you just break that bid there and the thing drops, you know, $8. So,
well, I think Tyler Verse has it here.
Yeah.
Vantage Score now used across the nation as well, so FICO, TransUnion, and Experian all taking hits.
Look at CoreWeave.
Rivals. So essentially that makes a lot of sense, but that's not very tradable. I've told the story about traders that have traded Amazon on this floor before the split, and it's not that you couldn't make money. It just comes down to what the risk was on the way out when you're trying to exit the trade. When it works, great, but then when it doesn't work, it was what you were risking when it starts to go against you and what the liquidity is like ultimately. That's what it boils down to. As far as its comparables go, like a bunch of other software companies, when it lists its comparables, they're all a bunch of names that I like way better.
Yeah, I mean, we never.
I went to the comparables, and it was like, and they listed Palantir, CRM, and Intuit. There was a fourth, but I was like, oh,
Palantir, never heard of it.
It's like a bunch of things that you'd like more than this, which I don't know very well. But again, not very tradable. And if you look, that's not a very appealing. When I see 2 death drops on the daily chart, like I really don't like it. really, really don't like it. Like that's death drop. And if there's a fundamental reason going on in terms of a shift.
Tesla's getting kicked right now. Like
this is late news. Like is this late
Elon
reaction?
Musk, I guess. Probably some more tweets there. I mean, I'm gonna go over to Elon right now, and in a second, I'm just gonna go to Elon Musk here. What's going on right now? So I'm just gonna go over to his Twitter and see what's going on right now, because maybe there's something going on right now. If you want to support Texas flood, so that's good. Powell saying, Trump posting that we need to cut it right now, Fed rate cuts and whatnot. But here he goes. How can people be expected to have faith in Trump if he won't release the Epstein files? So more stuff there about Epstein files. Pardon me? Yeah, good, perfect. Farzad there again. These are more guys that he's tweeting out about Congress and stuff about this America Great Party. So, yeah, I mean, again, if we're going to talk about news not being relevant, I mean, this was 35 minutes ago, that Elon tweet, right? So I feel like when we're talking about news stories, it's very easy to like pick and choose this, but this has really started to happen here. This was 3:03 right there on the breakdown, but there goes Tesla Adara with breaking news.
It's not Tesla, it's just the market. There's a new post from Truth Social from President Donald Trump. A new study by the Council of Economic Advisors led by highly respected chair Dr. Stephen Moran has found that tariffs had zero impact on inflation. In fact, the study shows that import prices are actually dropping, just like I always said they would. And then he talks here about how experts are wrong, that tariffs are making their country, quote unquote, boom. Many new factories, jobs, and trillions of dollars in investment are pouring into the USA. Now, here's where we get to the Powell aspect of things, saying, quote, someone should show this new study to too late Jerome Powell, who's been whining like a baby about non-existent inflation for months and refusing to do the right thing in all caps. Cut interest rates, Jerome. Now is the time. He did previously say that Powell should resign immediately. He wants to get in somewhere. Someone who can and will do something about the rates. He said that just a couple hours ago during his cabinet meeting. He also called Powell TOO too late. Back to you.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Okay, CoreWeave right now, thanks to that. Yeah, we just talked about that right now with Mr. Powell and Mr. Too Late and this and that. But there goes CoreWeave, man. Like I said, like trying to host and trade, and there it goes, man. Big time movement there for buy right there, man. See you later, CoreWeave. Like we just got that fill down there, man. $10 winner here from the top of our first fill there. So yeah, man, CoreWeave again. You know, pretty. Just trying to show you guys here live on the show that, you know, these kind of trades, again, are possible. We have, and it's just funny because I have CoreWeave today, so I only have 2 trades. I think, again, Neil's made more trades than me on different stocks. I don't know about more trades, but there's probably, I guess, because I have a lot of fills here. But again, this is what happens. Again, taking a bigger position, getting out on the way, kept on, you know, getting out at 154, then held the goods for this move down. So, I mean, there goes CoreWeave. It's the #1 trade idea on the sticky note, and I'm just trying to follow that plan. And then in a complete opposite kind of a trade, just showing you guys this is the breakout, right? Love breakouts. When you're playing the right stock, breakouts are absolutely fantastic. And I've also talked about the break and fake, and then today we didn't get a break and fake. I basically put the full maximum position there that I was willing to take on Big Bear AI and ran that all the way. So we only have 2 trades, man, CoreWeave and Big Bear AI, 2 for 2 and just a monster of a day. So yeah, really, really happy with what's going on. At the end of the day though, Tesla might be the next trade for me here because at some point, the madness must stop. Tesla, huge move down into 297 and change. Of course, we're really happy with an $8 winner right now on CoreWeave, but we can always get a little bit more greedy and look to make another trade in again right there today. So we're going to do that and then see what's going on with Tesla down here, 297. Let's just try it right here. I'm going to try a position right now, 297.70, see if we do get a little bit of a bounce back. I mean, you know, this bottom right there, 296.34. I mean, we have well enough in our account to withstand this kind of a move down. So let's just wait to see if we do break. I don't really want to play with that. Well, that's actually only 295 and change. I'm not getting sloppy here. I just think that there's a push coming back upside. So let's wait for it here. Again, $8 winner on CoreWeave. Let's see if we could do something again right now on Tesla. There it goes, up a nice little 50 cents. We'll see if we can get a little bit more, obviously, than that, but there it goes right there. Neil, almost as if it's easy. There it goes on Tesla, another 50 cents. So 3 names for me. Let's see if we caught potentially the bottom, but I don't know.
What was that? The low you said 95?
Well, I was just looking at the day chart. I mean, it looks like it went
that
to
is
95.
Right. My chart, I thought that was a bad wick.
Yeah, well, 95.60.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyways, we'll see, man. If this goes back up $1, I mean, I don't know what else we're supposed to do. I'm sitting here just chilling out, doing all of this, and then boof. Hopefully we can grab $1 on this and then just start to go stacking. So I'll get another out here in the 40s because this may not last, right? This is a nice little recovery bump back up there on Tesla. And again, just trying to trade it off of, we have the 200 period moving average right there. Nice little take right there. Let's see what winds up happening for TSLA as it's coming back in just a little bit.
I don't really like that long, but I have to address this, and I did mention this when we were doing our little rundown. Someone said they wanted to get locates on CoreWeave because of the structure of the deal being all stock.
Holy shoot.
Cores is free locates. So you can short this. Well, I would assume, like, okay, fine, we have to pay for locates on CoreWeave, but we can short cores for free. And the charts are going to be the same thing. It's an all-stock deal, so they're relatively going to move. Like when one falls, it should just fall with it. So yeah, you got to pay for locates on CoreWeave, but there is an alternative. I don't know, like I'm not thinking long on Tesla right now when that battle is going on. We've seen this follow through. It's only 316. So I want to see it maybe try to push into the 300 level. I'm still on the offer of Apple because I think we have a chance to be able to pick that one up on a little bit of market weakness if we get a bit of a bounce. But I almost look like if we're bouncing into 300, that I want to fade on all this like spat stuff on Tesla. Yeah, I like the long off the 300 level, but that's when you're back underneath it. I just don't like it as much at all. It doesn't look, it's not a healthy thing. And ultimately, all that buying the last couple of days, I just feel like if we'd kept our mouths, I say we, but I don't mean we. I mean, if Elon had maybe kept his mouth shut, you wouldn't be having another rehash of this. And the support hasn't really been anywhere except for 300 and then down at that 294, 295. So I'm looking if we can push back into 300 to try to short into that. For sure. The market's not falling that much. Like the Nasdaq just went flat and went from 22.9 to like 22.87. Ultimately, it's not a big move. Like Tesla is the biggest mover here for sure in terms of what's going on. I just don't know if I like that long. If I'm looking long, I feel like the bounce on NVIDIA makes the most sense. Like NVIDIA just dipped into VWAP while all that was going on and is right back to where it was before. Like this looks like a pretty strong stock, buying it off the volume weighted average price. Might go ahead and look for that to the long side. And the chip names in general have been strong today. I know Intel was on the board because Intel went up like 4%, but NVIDIA, I got bottom wick. I traded again to the long side. We get that 160 break, which was flat. But I like this off of VWAP as well. NVIDIA primed to get to another retest of its all-time high. I think it has a chance for an all-time high, for a high intraday move if it gets to 160, it's like 65 or something, which it got 40 cents away from here today. So I like the dip into VWAP if the market's going to bounce on NVIDIA. Sorry about that wick. Now it's a little bit easier to see. Like this little high in here. 160.5, bit of resistance, but there's room to go on NVIDIA.
All right. Yeah, and again, to each their own. Like we're running Tesla right here. Tesla will now be the P&L number 3 stock right there. Sometimes you got to take a little bit of risk. This could still fall out though. I'm out of a third of this right now on Tesla as it's going to go hopefully a little bit higher here. But it is having a problem up in this area. You know what? Let's just stack, man. Okay, we'll punch them out there at 40. I am waiting at 70 to make, again, that dollar, and we'll see what's going on. What's up, Chef Joe? I just asked you a question. I'm going to show it anyways because I'm assuming that you're fine with it. I don't even know if you're here. All right, open image in new tab. What's up, Chef Joe? Chef Joe wanted me to show this. His dog here watching Trader TV Live. So shout out to Chef Joe here. His dog's name, Duke. So what's up, Duke? Right there. I'll tell him at 3:19 p.m. I showed this. Chef Joe and I message back and forth there on X. So shout out to Chef Joe. 3:19 I showed Duke if he wants to look at that. Then Duke right here can find himself live on TTVL right there. I invited Chef Joe to the recap show one day, and then we had a great time there. Big Tesla bull is Mr. Chef Joe, and you might like the fact that we are on Tesla long again for my third stock traded there today, and we just stick with it. Again, we had written down Tesla here on our sticky note. Included on this note again is the $10 winner that you're seeing in CoreWeave. I'm just going to close my messages here so I can go back over to my profile and show you guys the sticky note. I mean, again, it's just another piece of information, right? Like we have the watch list out there. That's nice. It doesn't actually give you trades, just gives you sort of ideas. This is the idea behind the trades, the method behind the madness right there. There's CoreWeave. We like that. Even the 156 break short, we talked about it. I don't think Tesla's getting to 292, but we did see that good bottom there from yesterday. And we pick one right now off the 200 period moving average. And then BBAI was posted right after this because I looked at it and made sure that we posted that. And then the BAC short that we wanted all day. We even talked about it possibly breaking through $47 as some bank stocks continue to move around once again. And, I don't know if you guys are in bank stocks or not, but 47 held pretty good. This was the downside move. And again, the thing about it is when we talk about these stocks, obviously the ideas that I have on here, like I said, Neil, it's traded 9 symbols today. I've only traded 3. And the thing is that I'm just looking for opportunities that develop where I can either milk the trade or let it sit there for a minute, let it sort of marinate, try to get out immediately, but then also try to hold a little bit of something. And remember, when you're doing a sticky note trade, it's a lot different because that's what it looks like before. As the market opens, as we all know, as numbers come through and different things start to happen, what winds up happening is we get different ideas come through, and we got to be able to watch out for that. So anyways, here we go, man. The market's trying to make some moves higher here, or sorry, not higher. It's Tesla making the moves lower right now against us. We got to be careful with this trade here on Tesla.
Yeah, 100%. And ultimately, in the middle of the day, better have a catalyst. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We didn't go over, look, I'll get to Tesla in a quick little second because it bears mentioning, but there was a lot of tariff talk during the middle of the day. One of them was some pretty large numbers thrown around about pharma tariffs.
Right. Which
my first reaction was like, he's not putting 200% tariffs on pharma, but I had a bit of a FOMO trade on Merck. Because I was like, that number's nonsensical and covered a short only to watch it drop a lot further. So when it bounced, I'm like, okay, we're going to take more the second time, but you shouldn't do on news. On news, you should have less the second time through because the news has been digested in a general sense. You should never take more. You should take less. So I went slightly down on Merck. But again, we've been waiting around for news on the pharma tariffs. And he's saying, President Trump is saying they're close. And obviously, a bunch of these names took hits. Merck was, I believe, the biggest percentage mover to the downside. Eli Lilly took a nasty one as well. But ultimately, this is a stock which has been in trouble for a while. Maybe it's bottoming out. But yeah, it's like some sectors are just not. It's just not good, and 5 is not good. I'm trying to find you a silver lining on Merck, but
you have IBB.
I'm literally struggling to do so. And let's be real, the only healthcare stock, I've swung UNH. I used to own it in my long-term account, and I don't, for reasons that are pretty obvious, when I learned a little bit more about their business and did a little more research, I'm like, it turned from just something that did well in my portfolio to a company that I didn't want to own. But the only big healthcare stock I own out now was Eli Lilly. And if anyone ever asked me, I'm like, this is the one that you want. And barely a scratch today for Lilly on that news. I know it's up 1% and there was a big move down, but a nice little recovery for them. As a matter of fact, it's kind of falling in as we speak. But yeah, there was a lot that was going on in the healthcare space as well. Go Bills. Pfizer was a trade for myself that I did pretty well for obvious reasons in COVID. And we always talk about cleaning up your account. There's a bunch of really good COVID plays that I held on to like 10, 15% of because of, it went up so much. Who cares? We'll just hold on to a piece on the way back. it's kind of a silly thing to do if your reason for liking it has gone away. Just get out of the whole thing. Like, I think that's something that I'm a little bit better at. Like, I remember after that experience, I did that with Silvergate, like 50% before it got to the high. And I looked like an idiot when I sold on the way up. And I'm like, whatever, I didn't get a great price. And then they went bankrupt. I'm like, who's laughing now? And I put that money into Coinbase. So, like, ultimately, sometimes you just want your money out of stuff because it's not good, and maybe it rebounds, maybe it doesn't. But if your reason for liking it, like, look at these charts. You saw Merck, you saw Pfizer. I don't know what's going on in this space. Pfizer needs to make some acquisitions or something to figure it out. But I think that you're probably going to see some deals in the next year or so. How else are they supposed to catch up to Eli Lilly at this point?
Yeah, no one's going to do
Can't
that.
figure it out on their own. So
yeah, no, Eli Lilly's
going to have to buy
be,
somebody.
Eli Lilly's going to be, I think anyways, I'm pretty big on that stock. We've been buying that stock as well. You guys know I switched Google into Eli Lilly a little bit there over the last little while. Just really quickly on Tesla. Tesla came back up to 298, which is going to come back again, and I got out more. So right now, out of all of the shares that I had, we only have a third left right now because it just came back up, and I was like, you know what? If I can get 298, we'll take it. So that's that mark right there on the stock. And now I'm offering actually 298.10 to get out of 25% of what we have left, which is 30%, so whatever that works out to, another 8 or 9% if we can get back upside right now. Just making sure that we don't turn this trade into a losing trade because, as we mentioned, man, the market has been pretty downside here today, so we got to watch out for that and see where we go. But right now, there it is, so we get that out right there, 298.10, so a good move there, another 40 cents on top of what we already have, and pretty happy with the performance there on Tesla. We did not, though, get that dump down in CoreWeave. CoreWeave broke 150 and went whoosh all the way down. And again, it only went down $1 from there, but I would have liked to grab that. I only have less than 5% left of CoreWeave. Looking to see if we can get into anything else right now. But thinking about getting into other things, obviously, is there needs to be that trade and it needs to be available. So I'm not sure right now if there is going to be an available trade coming into the close. It's 3:30 right now. We will look to see if there's anything else happening as I just fixed some of my stop orders right there. I had not looked up yet, haven't even called up Palantir today. This name looks like it'll be okay, but a nice upside move into 140 again. Palantir's all-time high is 146, 147, but here it is pulling back into 139, goes PLTR. So maybe this name making a move back under. Yeah, Google, AMD, Boyle there for Nat Gas. I see some people talking about it right now, but I think this is what I agree with the most. What's up, Finch Jane? This is what I'm doing, man. This is why I'm trying to buy the indexes. I mean, all the companies I'm trying to buy are no longer marijuana companies. I'm trying to buy the best companies when they go down. So that's the plan. That's why I'm saying, like, I was waiting for Amazon to get hit to come back in a little bit more because, again, I want to buy best of breed. That's what started off when I was 18 or 19 years old, started self-investing, self-directing my IRA and everything like that, RRSPs here in Canada. And it started with buying names like IBM and Apple. And I still own all of those names. All the names, they're all the banks, all the Canadian banks, like just buying them when I was younger and trying to be disciplined and sitting on those and collecting the dividends and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I believe in that. So 100% shout out to you, Finch Jane. Again, we'll get some of these super chats when we get back from Adara.
Keep an eye here in Kodak. Kodak, or Eastman Kodak here, making moves to the upside. That is KODK, announcing on X about a minute ago that they're going to be expanding into pharma with a new FDA-registered facility that's going to be apparently producing critical components and reagents for medical testing. So medical testing catalyst for KODK, which does have about a 13% short float. Back to you.
Yeah, it's one of those weird but actually very, very sensible pivots for Kodak. They are not the first, sort of like film. Look, man, old film. It's just it's essentially mixing chemicals, right? So it really does lend itself well to this. That being said, this is always just a squeeze play, and I don't really see it. Like, I don't see it breaking out anything too significantly. Let me just do one thing here because it'll bug me not to draw this. So let me just draw that, and then I can get to the super chats. I don't see it breaking any significant levels for a squeeze, but what it is doing is breaking a downward trend. This can close. If this closes holding these gains, there might be a little something here on Kodak, just from a pure squeeze perspective. overall. I can't tell you bottom line just hearing that news what's that going to do to the business. But we got a few super chats in here. One Stop Sports. Shout out to you. Must be like a store or something. But it's Canadian dollars.
Yeah, it must be.
Love your guys' content and sending love from the East End of Toronto. What are your guys' go-to indicators for scalp trading? I think you've seen it 100%. Like, okay, that's Kodak, which I just happen to have up right now going nuts, everybody. Volume weighted average price, and I like to look at trend lines. So ultimately, like when you look at trend lines, I think it's usually something along the lines of I don't draw that incredibly well. Like I probably could do that a little bit better, but the idea is you want to see a defined, clear, as many points as possible trend line. But oftentimes, volume and the volume weighted average price and just sort of using those. Like SoFi was an example of, well, I was looking for a place to get back in. It showed me that it held the volume weighted average price. So I tried that and it worked a couple times until it didn't. And then ends up being a short underneath. I like that indicator, but ultimately, unless it's on a higher time for scalp trading, I like trend and I use a 3-minute and I'm looking at volume and I'm looking at trend lines. And then sometimes I'll look at bottoming tail candles, something like that kind of a pattern with a big volume spike, which didn't happen here, so I can't really show you an example. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if anything had a bottoming tail candle with a big volume spike today, and nothing's coming to mind, so I can't just make one up out of nowhere. But yeah, volume's very important in the volume weighted average price for myself.
Yeah, I mean, when we started here, I was talking about to Adair. I was like, you only need one indicator, VWAP. So yeah, I believe in VWAP as well. Shout out to all the VWAP traders out there. All right, CoreWeave, not doing much. Let's look at something else. Shout out to Chef Joe, who is now watching. We did show Duke already, so shout out to you for that one. And we got out of Tesla for basically flat. My last price was not basically flat. We're up on the stock. The last couple outs were for flat. We remember we got those 298s, then a 298.20, or but that was 10s. What is that? Maybe it looks like 13s or 14s, but anyways, out there, then these outs right there, 1 through 50, and then 1 at 35, unfortunately. So we will wind up getting a 40-cent hit on our last piece, but didn't stop us from taking those tops right there for the majority. Then we told you we're holding a third of it. So this last part is the third, which was getting hit there near the end. So we'll watch out to see what winds up happening there with TSLA. Hopefully a move higher for those of you that are bullish on this. But, you know, it's coming back in today because the story, again, you know, this America first, and now apparently, you know, we've now we're going to talk all about these Epstein files again, and it's just going to be you know, sort of schoolyard drama, it seems like, for both of these names, for Trump and for Tesla. So, you know, we hadn't looked at DJT actually in a minute. So let's have a look at it.
This is like a weird pairs trade that you could do.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, is there anything available here for this?
What did it do with the open? What was that? Oh,
a big spike there. Obviously, some kind of news story there off the open.
That's interesting. But so remember, DJT's doing the push into Fintech.
Right. Fintech.
So you know what? Now that I look at this, maybe this was as simple as, well, Robinhood did it, so DJT did it too.
Yeah, I could believe that.
Like, yeah, it's a Fintech story. Look, we're gonna go from DJT and check out to see if that actually works. Right to I haven't done this, looked at it, very similar. Immediately gives it up, so other fintechs gave it up. And this is what we're talking about whenever you're looking at an overall space, whether it's buy the best in a long-term sense or buy the best in the short term if you're swing trading or day trading. Okay, well, if you like the fintech names, great. Robinhood was good for about 10 minutes this morning. Actually, 3 minutes this morning off of the open. Just go to the one that's stronger. Like SoFi was held for a little bit longer than that. So you want to generally be in the thing that is stronger. And no AG. I was not saying Hood is a short. I was just simply making the point that Hood did a massive reversal like DJT did, and a bunch of fintech stocks did as well. Does Hood look like it's a little bit overheated? Yeah, well, how many stocks go from $30 to $100 that aren't a bit overheated? I think it is due for a very healthy pullback. And I think there would be nothing wrong with that. And I don't think that would change your necessary long-term aspect outlook on it. Just fighting a sneeze here. On Robinhood, would I be hitting the short key right here, right now at the low of the day? No. But I do think if this breaks 90 tomorrow, like when I'm going through like my notes, I'll usually throw like a level like 90 short on breakdown trade on Robinhood, and I'll put that down on the iPad. But if tomorrow it's gapped to 94, then it doesn't actually make my note because it's nowhere close to the level. But if we come in, it looks like this, and you could flat bottom break, yeah, healthy pull back into the mid 80s, why not? Robinhood's a great stock, but great stocks go down for a bit too. Like that's just par for the course, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, right now I don't know what you do with Robinhood. Market's slightly bouncing, it's barely moving. I suppose people might try longs off this low of the day, I guess. But yeah, the fintech names have been having a fantastic run. It was just a little bit of profit taking on Robinhood the last couple of days, I think, which makes sense.
Okay, not yet. Okay, yeah, so yeah, Robinhood, good little look there. And we also talked about SoFi earlier as well. But today, you know, a lot of the talk in the market is just trying to figure it all out. We got back and forth with some tariff talk. We didn't really get much today from specific countries, but we got the tariffs on FCX, which is the copper move. So we can even look at COPX here with copper coming back. Should be going up, I would think, today. But yeah, I guess there's the move and here's the fade back out. It's that taco trade, but in reverse. It's like, you know, make an announcement, see thing go up, you know, figure it out, asset, whatever we're talking about goes back down. FCX would be part of that trade today, and this was the one that, as it was happening live on the midday show, this was going on. They were playing some video game. I don't know. I can't remember what that game was called. Fabian hooked it up for them. It was a lot of fun. Sharif was some sort of a farmer or something like that.
The Oregon something.
Yeah, whatever it was. I didn't actually know that game, to be honest with you. Although I do remember the 5.25-inch floppy disks and all of that kind of stuff, man. That was absolutely wild.
Atari?
But yeah, ColecoVision.
Did you guys have an Atari?
We had ColecoVision.
Oh, we actually had an Atari.
Yeah, Atari's great.
My dad was a bit of a, he loved that stuff.
Yeah.
He'd buy it for himself and then pretend it's my mom. Like,
there you go.
I'm buying it for the kids. It's like, hey, look at this thing for the kids, but really he just wanted to play with it. It's like Lego. He'd buy Lego that he just wanted.
Yeah.
And then we'd get to play with it.
Yeah, Lego's great. We have, the last Lego we bought was we bought a few other ones, but the bigger one was the Home Alone house, which was really nice. We didn't get the extra lights that were included. I found about that after. You can light that thing up. The Home Alone thing is pretty nice. Look at Tesla, man. It's a good thing we got out of the way of that one, as there it goes, right back to the downside. We'll still go 3 for 3 today, Tesla, CoreWeave, and BBAI. And how we find some of these trades, of course, has to do with charting. And if you're looking for a charting program that you can have complete control over, trust, reliable, and, you know, honestly, never goes down. The only time it goes down is when we lose internet connection or something like that, or these guys behind us drill, and next thing you know, pop goes the power. But yeah, there's a nice move down on Tesla. But anyways, Tesla, again, customizable charts, huge, man. Second charts, a great opportunity to back test, check out if your lines are working, what's going on with all of that. So yeah, man, we really do like eSignal. Make sure you do scan the QR code that's available on your screen right now. Check the link in description for your 1 month free. The scans are what's awesome. I mean, there's the Screener Plus. I can show you the trade right now is going crazy for NVIDIA, TSLQ, PROK as well. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. There, like, we've looked at PROK today. It just keeps on. PROK is the halter, right?
It's like 30 halts today.
Yeah, millions of halts. But
more than that.
As it's going through tons of trades, over 316 million shares, this will help you not miss that. SPLB just got hit up on there as well, so whatever that is. But anyways, lots of opportunities to go here on the day. So make sure that you do catch it out. ABEV, TSLL, TSLA, obviously as these markets continue to fall all over themselves, including Tesla, which the latest that we have is just him kind of going off a little bit on Dan Ives, going off a little bit. I'm just going to call up Elon's Twitter account again just to have a quick little look at that. Shout out to Chef Joe in the chat.
There's some early looking imbalances.
Says he's going to send, oh yeah, okay, we'll look at the imbalances in a minute. So he's going to send Duke after this guy. All right, this is this guy watching this. Share a piece of lore about yourself. One of our cars is literally floating in space right now. So shout out to Tesla right now. Hopefully it's not my car. It's downstairs, but hopefully it's still down there.
Well, that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool if it was in space. I wouldn't like that, but yeah, other than that, nothing else being tweeted out right there. The biggest thing there would be the fact that he was talking about the Epstein files right there. and then talking about finding a home in the America Party. So we'll just continue to monitor that situation. Obviously, it's going to be a sensitive one as politics are.
The more petty it gets, remember the last bat? It was like the more petty it got, the worse the stock did. It's like...
And then it was corrected the day after.
Yeah.
Like, I think Tesla's a long from here.
Well, the America First, so I keep saying America First. I think it's just the America Party. So I've gotten that wrong like 3 times this week. But and it's only a couple days. It was bought up at the open effectively, and then again bought up today. So it's like if you just could have calmed things down, the bulls are ready to buy it, but not while you're getting petty. I did want to go over. There's a TSLZ, I believe, had an. Oh, it did. All right. You're just gonna have to believe me. It's an inverse Tesla ETF, and there was a buy imbalance on it, but it's now gone. In the time that I was pontificating there. BBI does have a small buy imbalance, and again, in 10 minutes, these are going to come out for real. Whatever ASX is 2 million to the buy side. What ASC Technology? Okay, I'm not really familiar with them. They were the big one. Teladoc has a small sell, but an inverse Tesla ETF was a buy. It's now paired off for what that. I'm not saying that means a low or anything, but obviously an inverse Tesla ETF, it was a buy imbalance. It's kind of like a sell on Tesla. Does that make sense? But I'm just going to double check whatever this 2.5 million balance is on this stock that's literally not moving, but that's half the volume on the day. Maybe there's some kind of index action with that. But Tesla is now at the actual lows as we speak. So this is 294 was the close, and it's trying to bounce almost exactly off that 294 level. Like this might be the spot. Like, what I was talking about, like a stock hadn't made a bottoming tail candle at all today on volume. There's a big volume. There's your bottoming tail candle, 295. It looks like it's going to close green, but I don't want to chase. I want to see if I can get snagged on any kind of dip back into the 95 level, because to me, this play should not retake underneath 95. Like, forget about the low of the day. If it reclaims underneath 95, like to me, that's a loser. So the risk is to 95, meaning you can move a little bit closer to the 96 level. So I'm going to try and pick something up in the 95 half zone if we can, and give it to underneath that 95. But that's kind of what I was talking about when a volume spike on a bottoming tail candle and a recovery. The issue with that setup is if you wait for it on a 3-minute, you might be a little bit, like I like a 3-minute chart. I find you don't overtrade on a 3. What happened? There you go. But if you look at it on a 1 minute, and again, to each their own, that same setup, looking for it on a 1 minute, you get a bottoming tail, there's the massive volume candle, and then you might already be in this at like 94.7 or somewhere in this range on a 1 minute chart. So on a 1 minute chart, you might be in that trade. I use a 3-minute chart, but that's sort of the idea. If you use a 3-minute chart, you're likely to make less entry points and be a little bit more specific or precise with it, but you also will miss like some of those quick little snapshots. I tend not to jump back and forth between time frames, and I just like a 3-better. So I'm going to try and get picked up. My stop's already underneath the 95 level, so I'm going to get picked up if this comes right back in. And Rusty Dutch saying you've got resistance at 97 on Tesla now. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it didn't really get to 97. I saw 96 half come out there on the offer, but there was no one sitting there with any size or anything like that. So I don't know why I'd be pegging the 97 in particular. Is there something to zoom out with on 97? Yeah, it could. You would just be looking at the pre-market lows, I suppose, and somewhere in that range, and make an educated guess at that. So I said I'd pick it up in front of the halves and give it to the 95. So that's going to be the plan of action here on Tesla. My other bid down there got auto-canceled because I default to auto-cancel being on, not off.
Yep, same.
Which...
Oh, no, I dedicated to be off.
So... I mean, yeah, I could. It's probably worth it. So you would have seen like my other Tesla bid just go. Here at Real Trading, you have two functions. Like auto cancel simply means if you get filled on a bit of a stock and you have another one, auto cancel will cancel the other bid, which sometimes is lower. You can choose whether you want that to happen automatically or whether you want to turn that off. I like it to happen automatically, and I want to be able to choose when, if I get a fill, I'm leaving the other in. So it's a matter of personal preference. In that particular case, in the moment, I didn't remember to turn it off. I just put the bid back in there. It wouldn't have filled anyway, so it literally doesn't matter. I'm sitting there in the 20s, and it never got down into the 20s. So it didn't really cost me anything, but I did lose that. But I just put it right back in at 22 where it was before with a stop at 95. So let's see if Tesla can get back. 97, maybe that's a bit of something. It just seems like it would be that pre-market low. But I tend to look at, okay, this was when things really heated up, and look at the volume at 98. Like, I would think the target's in here, 97.5-ish on Tesla is what I'd be aiming for on this bit of a bounce play. 5 minutes till the imbalances, one way or another, I want out of this before the imbalances come out. Because last thing you want is to sell imbalance on Tesla after this spat's going on.
Yeah, good look down there at 295. Looks like a good one there. So, yeah, I was looking at those imbalances, and I was kind of like, okay, not much. You know, BAC, we've talked about BAC not a lot today, but it was on my note. Looking at that HBK, Fun, Pfizer, Teladoc. Teladoc's an interesting one. Clover Health has been moving around a little bit as well.
What's the other one? Oscar.
Yeah, Oscar's the one that I like, so I might pick up some of that in the portfolio soon. What's up, Adair?
When I hear on Rivian, this is RIVN. Nice little pop at this one. So apparently, Rivian's small EV spinoff is valued at $1 billion in Green Oaks investment. I looked this up. Green Oaks Capital is, I guess, they're an investment group, they're an investment company based in California. So what it sounds like based on this story that I'm reading, and again, not sure if this is confirmed, but it looks like apparently Green Oaks Capital is looking to, I guess, invest here in Rivian. They're valuing their small EV spinoff at $1 billion. Back to you.
All right, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Lucid party today. Like, in the general sense, I like Rivian more than Lucid, but even Randy was on Lucid today.
He just mentioned it. I don't think Randy never mentions like trades, but just,
no, but he.
Yeah. I don't know what it was going up there.
Oh, it's just usually when Randy comes in, it's one of three things that usually we're talking about. Like, he'll say Rivian, he'll talk about energy.
Yeah,
ExxonMobil, sometimes a little Chevron. He might throw a little bit of Tesla in there. He might punk Ford, which it makes a lot of sense. But what I was going to get at when we got to go to the news for Rivian there, the Oscar Health. Now, whether you're into this sort of thing or not, to each their own, but the 50 period on the daily and a golden cross, if you like it, I don't know too much about them, but if they are an alternative, what are they, like an alternative, kind of like a new age, like healthcare?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I only like it because the technicals that you're bringing up right now.
No, the technicals I was going to say the technicals are gorgeous, right? Like higher lows, holding the 50. If you like an indicator, the most important thing to me is, does your stock like it? What the heck do I care? Like, that's great if I like the 50 period moving average if the stock doesn't give two darns about reacting to it. But this one has since it broke. Breakout at the 50, hold of the 50, bounce of the 50 just now, and also now the 200, which hasn't mattered as much as anything but resistance, but that looks like a good one technically. That's all I wanted to get at with Oscar. And then you have upside. You can see like $16 to $21 is a good opportunity. All right, so you're running out of steam, Tesla. It's only 3 minutes to the imbalances, so I'm going to cancel the other bid because I don't want to get filled as the imbalances come out. It's now binary. Either it's going to break down under 95 or it's going to get to 97 change. And I think that makes a reasonable target for Tesla. But I'm going to have the imbalances. We always have the imbalances up for you guys. Like I said, Teladoc, kind of something. I don't know what PL is. And ASX, again, that stock's literally not moving. GDX just popped up here for 1.1 million to the buy side. Sometimes you'll see ETFs in there on the Amex. My experience is unless they're absolutely gigantic, they just don't move. I just heard in my ear that the core scientific acquisition by CoreWeave is being discussed.
Yeah, the CEO's on CNN or CNBC or BNN. They're talking about some trading show where some guy shorted today at 160 and ran this thing right now. But yeah, no, they're not talking about that. We actually just got some more out. So right now, I might as well just start to, you know what? I'm just going to get out of everything right now. That's it. See you later. Ciao. There it is, man. It is your diamond hand trade of the day. And I hate the diamond hand thing, but I was really happy with the way that we were able to hold this thing all the way back in. It's a real... BBAI is going to beat it by a little bit, P&L wise today, but it's CoreWeave and it's BBAI, big time stocks there today for myself. So we're pretty happy with the way that that's all sort of panned out so far today. So we're out of that one, and now we can sort of wait to see what does happen with those imbalances coming out very, very soon. Marvell, I was going to buy Marvell. Like, I just actually hit down here at these bottoms right here, and it looks like buying it might have been a mistake, but obviously, as Neil and I had just mentioned, you know, these imbalances that come out, you're going to see stocks move like crazy. Marvell's still up 0.92 right now. This is another name that I've just recently got into. And remember, I was saying that I didn't really like AMD. I don't really like Marvell either. This is just a play that AMD and some of the other names have broken through the 200 period moving average. So we got long this name at $64 and did cash out. And again, I hold. Like, I get out of some as they move up, try to hold them, and then, you know, was waiting for that $80 break. And then we had that news from Microsoft a couple days ago where Marvell, Microsoft's talking about using their own chips, and they came to the downside. What's up to Levy, I believe it was. There's a guy in our baseball team, Levi, Levy, I don't know what the name is over there. His name is Lev, and he's great. He actually wanted to pitch. I said, okay. He went in there and he did quite well. So shout out. He didn't mow them, but he did really good. He's a good pitcher for us right now. But yeah, Reddit. I don't know. I like the space. I like the advertising space on the web, right? I think that there's going to always be people perusing different. There it is, 350 out right now. We can check what's going on with these imbalances. Datadog, there it is. Yeah, so
of course.
Datadog with a buy there. We were expecting that as they go into the S&P 500 tomorrow. So that's a big one there. Obviously missed that. Intel with a sell coming through there now. So we'll see where that one winds up going right now as a sell. But what I was getting about with Reddit, which is not on here, of course, RDDT, is that, yeah, I do like the business. And I think Reddit can work. Again, it just had a pretty decent move there from the bottom on Reddit, 90 up to 150. So I think it just needs to settle down. But if there was a name that I think can work, it would be Reddit. And again, I like the space. I think there's been a lot of advertisers that haven't been on Reddit. I think there's a good opportunity for them to cash a little bit there. So on opportunities, a lot of the other opportunities I think are like exhausted. Not that Meta's exhausted, but we know Instagram and we know all of that. So with YouTube and YouTube Shorts becoming the big thing there, I think YouTube and Reddit would be the places for advertisers right now. So yeah, I do like Reddit. Thanks, Levi, in the chat there. But yeah, good question there on Reddit.
Shout out to Rusty Dutch.
Oh, it's like Levi the jeans. There it is. What's up?
Yeah, Levi.
Got my 501s.
We had a Levi in the Barrie office. That's when the second you said it. When Sean and I had our own trading floor, we actually opened a second office outside of Toronto. The main floor was really it's a long story. The main floor did much better. But there was a guy.
I mean, I can't be in two places.
There was a dude, Levi, that was a really, really interesting.
Yeah, they're a good guy.
He's a very interesting character on the floor. I'll leave it at that. I'm just
Aren't they all?
but I'm thinking of some of the stories, and I just realized some of it's not all that appropriate. But I wanted to shout out Rusty because there was a lot of selling at 297, as you were saying. It ended up being some resistance. I was going to cover before the imbalances regardless, and it happened to be at 97, but you were dead on. But Tesla burst through when there was no sell imbalance at all. It doesn't mean there was a buy. Overall, the market was a small buy of a couple $100 million, the NQ $650 million to buy, the Mag 7, oddly enough, a very small sell. But Tesla does make that rebound off of the lows. So once again, if it eventually catches a bid, if it's going to close green, barring something going crazy, but I'm a little mad at myself over Datadog, and no, I will not chase Datadog. Going into the S&P 500, effective tonight. So whenever they say that's going into the S&P tomorrow, like on the 9th, that just really means it's happening at the close the day before, right? So it came out as a big buy imbalance. It's not as big as what we were expecting. We're expecting double digits, big double digits. It was like 7 million to buy. It's already paired half of that off, and the total volume's down like 25 million total. So ultimately, not as big a buy as expected, but there was a bounce. Like, it seems as if you probably could have had something in there, but I actually just forgot about Datadog. This is just the truth. I totally forgot.
Of course, we didn't.
That was going to be today, and it comes down to sometimes like a bit of your preparation. We were mentioning it literally yesterday for this, and the trade comes out as buy, quick scalp buy, and you had to have that right away because it gave you potentially $1, but chasing it now when I would expect that to pair off as it's already starting to do, I wouldn't take advantage of. And remember we had said, it was that negative note from some random Bloomberg story that this was going to move more.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was some negative Bloomberg story on their business, and it got a down. It was yesterday. It was downgrade, I believe.
Well, it was in our notes today.
Actually, no, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was probably in our notes today. And we're just like, no, just trade. Wait for the close to trade this one to the long side. So we did talk about it this morning, but there it is. Wait for the close to trade it to the long side when the imbalance comes out. Good luck if you happen to have it, but yeah, not cool. You always have to remember, you know, it's easy to get distracted. And you got to be on that. And the thing about the imbalances on Nasdaq, it's not like the New York. Right? When we pull these up at 4,350, all the New York ones, we can see if they're going to come out, or like you just see like early looks, and you might see that Datadog's already a buy imbalance if it was New York like an hour ago. But on Nasdaq, you've got to be eyeballing it and ready right at 350. And those have been the better ones for that reason. Like the better trades happen on the Nasdaq because they're not telegraphing to a bunch of people before 350 what they're going to be. They just come out as a bit of a shock. That's why they are better trades, because there's less information to go off of. The more obvious it is, the less you get out of it. That's the NYC ones.
All right. My wife is sending me all these. If anybody's in Boston and has any like hookups on hotels, man, they're freaking expensive. Like $600-700 a night there in downtown Boston proper. May have to stay.
Did you try Trivago?
Cambridge. Maybe. Yeah, she's trying everything. I think she just goes to Google.
I'm just, that's not the commercial?
Yeah,
is that what they say, like, didid you try Trivago?
Yeah, it's like, there's some sort of a thing there about Trivago, yeah.
Didn't that dude,
anyways,
you know what?
Message me if anybody has any hookups over there.
Didn't the Trivago guy have some?
Yeah, it's not that, Jose. I'm always trying to look for a deal. It's not, trust me on that one. All right, so, yeah, we talked about Datadog again, going to the upside, fading out a little bit. Right now, pulling back into 146 and change. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right there, coming back in. Yeah, we'll probably get a hotel downtown because we want to, like I said, we want to go to Little Italy. We want to see the boardwalk there and all of that kind of stuff. Have some clam chowder over there. And unfortunately, we looked and the Red Sox are not in town. I'd love to go see the Red Sox. But so we'll wait to see what winds up happening there. But always looking for a deal. We'll be going out to dinner tonight, which, maybe. And I was looking for Coldplay tickets.
You've been to Fenway, though.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because then you can still.
That was a while ago.
When they're on the road, I'm sure they have the tours still, right?
But I want to see a game.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
My kids aren't like, they're not that excited to see it. It'd be more about going to the experience right now. But now that the Skydome's done all the renovations, we'll probably try to go there. I've only been to one game this year. We just hung out upstairs. Okay, so I don't even know what I was looking at my phone for. Datadog right there, the one that we're all looking at, right? We'll see where they wind up printing here coming into the day. It's already paired off, so all of that action, again, gone already. There was a couple million shares. I think it was 8 million that we showed off early, then it went all the way to the upside, then it got paired off. So if I sort by paired volume, it will be the #1 name, I would assume, today. There it is, over 30 million shares going in today, right there, paired off. So 15 million going in, 15 million coming out, matched up. So at the end of the day, whoever put on a market on close order type will get matched. And they'll get matched at whatever that closing price is. So I don't know what that's going to be, but this allows it to do what it's doing right now. When there's no imbalances, this is what happens. It just hangs out and you get a fair price. That's the whole point of the market on open and market on close imbalances, is so that you don't have to sort of show your hand and you don't get a crazy print neither. Because if you have to buy 30 or 15 million shares, each one of these digits here is only 100 shares. So when you look at the level 2, if you're going to buy throughout and you don't see any volume all the way down, a buy at the end of the day of 15 million shares probably gets this thing to like 149, 150, and then that's not fair because whoever was trying to sell into that, just got rinsed, and so they're trying to make it a little bit more equal with some of those calls. So that's what's going to happen. And until we see something outsized here, maybe nothing's going to happen. We saw Berkshire down for a while. Coke, not really part of that problem because Coke's been going okay. I think it's Apple, it's some BAC and some of the bank stocks that are making moves down today for that. But yeah, that's that with only 2 minutes left. iBit, again, doing nothing one more time here today. Sure, it had runs, don't get me wrong. But again, just the fact that it's at 108.7, I shouldn't say iBit, it's more like Bitcoin kind of stuck around
Can't break
here.
110.
Yeah,
It's that
and
simple.
there's the top
Can't
right
break
there. So
110.
we're going to wait tomorrow. 62.10 could come into play. It is right now only minutes away until the close. We have Brian Shannon coming through, and then we have AEHR earnings, which is not that much. EPS expected.
But we get back into earnings season with the banks soon, everybody. Like next week, JPM on
Tuesday.
On the second. I mean, the second day of the week, Tuesday. There, so we get right back into the thick of things. You're never out of earnings season for very long. Just with only a minute to go, obviously, we said Datadog, it did pair off. It came right back in. So if you're looking for that trade, whoops, I still have Tesla up. We always talk about the reason why the trade is right at the open and right at the imbalances when it comes out, but obviously it's pulling right back in there. Bit of a missed opportunity. Tesla's getting a decent rebound, but remember, this was chilling in the low 300s when you had this rollover happen. So unfortunately, it's not the best look for Tesla. You like the fact that it's getting bought up and it's going to hold grain. So I think you can be patient with this. And ultimately, as long as nothing escalates again, it might not end up being that bad. Like, they backed down pretty quickly the last time this happened. But some buying coming into Tesla at the end of the day. Just waited for, and someone asked a question about indicators. I was like, yeah, volume bottoms, and sometimes a candle pattern is all you need instead of fancy indicators. But we also need to ring the bell on this session, although it doesn't mean the end of the show, as you guys all know, because Shannon and NDRA will be with you as the market closes now. And what I mean by that is you get to sit back, relax. I know it's 4. At the end of the day, the market may close, but the show doesn't stop. The market recap will be in there. There is AHR as an example of earnings. But again, the big stories overall, like another spat, another set of back and forth between Elon, or I guess mostly Elon. I don't know if there was any response from President Trump and Tesla, which was in the midst of a really, really good recovery, ends up rolling over. So thank you once again. That's kind of frustrating. Datadog at the end of the day here, pretty nice reaction getting added to the S&P 500. They got a downgrade earlier this morning that sold it at the open, and then the buyers came back in. There was a trade there if you were really, really paying attention to it right at 350. You got to be really fast for that. But let's be real. Up 1%. A lot of the chips did really well. NVIDIA up a point and closing. I don't know if it might have closed at exactly 160. Pretty much closing at the 160 level here on NVIDIA. So incredibly impressive day. You had a lot of very strong moves in the chip space. Micron up 4%. So you would have seen Micron had a good day. Intel had a big day as well. The guys will go, the desk will go over this and some more. But as the market didn't do much in the afternoon, like Intel up 8% on the session. Unbelievable day. But thank you guys so much. You guys are the best community out there. It's a heck of a lot of fun. I want to give a big shout out to our team here, Fabian, Ramin, Andre, the Bash brothers, Brennan, who's back from a short brief trip. He'll be back on tomorrow. Great job filling in Sharif in the mornings, and Adara doing a bang-up job. But you get more. The market recap show. We've got Sean Adair at the desk. Special guest Brian Shannon confirmed. So it's going to be a fun one. Enjoy.
Just getting logged in right here. Thank you so much. Michael DCA saying great show. We appreciate that, of course. And thank you, everybody, for joining us one more time here for the last half hour of your day, where we'll sort of try to recap the market a little bit, talk about some of the fun ongoings today that were in the market.
Oh, yeah.
We did have a bunch of stuff moving around, obviously, there today. Some big sectors, including gold, down over 1% today. So that's not helping anybody, any gold bulls out there. I'm just popping out the chat right now. I want to say a big shout out to everybody that stayed with us right now. Hey, what's up, Mike Peter Ryder? I responded to you you responded to one of my posts, I responded to one of you. There it is, Michael's TCA, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys can stay with us. We do have Brian Shannon coming on in the next 10 or 15 minutes. He had some good trades that we want to talk about. He left us with some last week, and if you do have any questions for Brian Shannon, put them in the chat at any time. He'll be here at 4:15. Your Stock Twits Educator of the Year right there. There you go. You want to talk about SMCI? Yeah, actually, Brian Shannon, shout out to you there in Living Color. What a great show. You ever watch In Living Color?
I'm familiar with it. I've never watched it. I've seen the
I'll
Jeffersons.
hit the fail, but I know you're much younger than I.
I've seen other shows from the era. I have seen the Jeffersons. Moving on up. I've also seen Good Times, Sanford and Sons. I am missing one show. I've seen quite a few.
I could win a trip to Thailand here with Skip the Dishes. Okay.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Skip the Dishes is from Manitoba. So shout out to Manitoba.
Shout out to Manitoba.
Yeah. We had Skip before we had anything else.
Nice. Shout out to 7-Eleven as well.
Oh yeah, 7-Eleven. I mean, that's not from Manitoba, but it's just a Manitoba.
There's 3 phone lines, $130. Not bad. From Telus, that's my bill, so it just came in as well. Hey, pay the bills. Everybody. We'll ask him about SMCI. I think SMCI is primed for a little bit of a breakout right there, now breaking through 49.68. Nice move there, trying to get out upside on SMCI. Today was the day for that one, breaking through over 4%. Donald Trump tried to announce some tariffs on semiconductors. I heard that was supposed to be happening. Did that happen? Semiconductor tariffs?
He's been saying, okay, here's the
thing. We heard healthcare today.
I will just say that Trump has been saying that he's going to do pharma and semi-tariffs for months now.
Right.
He has made zero progress on either tariff. Now, as you were going to allude to, their pharma tariffs, he's saying up to 200%.
What's that mean?
But he hasn't even put tariffs on any of these. Like, I just want to make that very clear. They keep saying, oh, we're working on semi-tariffs. They actually, at one point, they had filed to do an investigation for semi-tariffs. And again, I have seen zero fruit of that.
I don't think, hey, what's up, Roadrunner? I don't think Brian Shannon was in Big Bear AI. I mean, I'm the one always asking everybody about it, and some of them never even heard of it before. Then all of a sudden, I guess last Friday, Steve Teilman there from Trade the Pool was like, Big Bear AI. I was like, bro, I told you about that a couple weeks ago. But shout out to great ideas. We had FLNC today from Fluence Energy from Mitch there again. So that started to go upside there today. So that was a good call as well. As some of these different energy plays look to get going. Nice little loop up right there. Fill that gap up to $12 for FLNC. Yeah, today, man, Donald Trump there, your current president of the United States, came out and announced some tariffs that should take effect as of August 1st. Should take effect. We're not sure. By the way, this show brought to you by Global X. So we want to thank you for them. Go check out their Beta Pro product right there, Global X. Scan the QR code or get into our description. Find out about that link there. The letters are being sent to Adara right now. During the cabinet meeting today, he said he announced semiconductor and pharma tariffs. We just talked about that. We didn't get the semis, but we did get the pharma one. I was looking at XLV here, just on the daily. You always know this is a healthcare, so not necessarily the pharma that we're talking about. XBI here is a good one. XBI, there it is, right there on the daily. This has been a good one that we've had, down to the downside there. We've been buying some of this. I'm still stuck long in and around here. We were initially buying when it came back into these levels right there on XBI. I actually remember, I don't know if I bought a 100 break or was it this break right there, but either way, fail back in here on XBI, the biotech ETF, as Moderna had some news going back up to the upside today. But you got another story right here?
Yeah, Mobileye. Okay. MBLY, we know I was going to say it's friend, but really the company that is involved with it, Intel, they were moving today. We couldn't really tell why. Mobileye, though, we do actually know why. They're announcing a $45 million share secondary offering by their Intel unit. So $45 million share secondary offering by their Intel unit. There's also going to be a $100 million stock repurchase and a $50 million Class B to Class A share conversion. So lots of announcements. Thank you to ScarJo Rabbit in the chat for reminding me of these. Also, guys, I apologize. I realized I was very wrong about the show eras. I was just thinking of throwbacks. Yeah, in living color, very different era than the shows I mentioned, and I apologize for that. But that's what we learned, and clearly I have some throwbacks to watch. Mobileye, though, throwing it back to the downside here with a low of 1670. For context, we closed around 1860, so that's like a $2 wipe at the lows for a stock that is only like in the teens. Right. It's not a very expensive stock for that move. We have AEHR earnings. Let's see if they have reported yet. We were expecting them at 4:05 p.m. They're down 20%, so that would be a heck yes. There was a double miss. Sorry, I'll just go over this really quickly.
Yeah, go.
So they missed on sales. I typed AHER, that's why I'm wrong, AEHR. So AR Test Systems, Q4, adjusted losses of 1 cent per share. That's in line with estimates, but sales were a miss. 14.089 million versus 14.823 million expected. For the record, the expected move on this was about 20%. We got a move of about 20%.
Yeah, homie the clown, don't mess around. And in living color, Damon Wayans, who I saw perform.
I love the Wayans.
Yeah, I saw Damon perform in Vegas. He has a pillowcase, and he fills it with various items and whaps people over the head with it.
Oh.
But kids and everything. So it's not like,
that's
it's not bricks in there. or anything.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
that's fair.
He's just like, you don't want. That's the one clown you don't want at your party.
I see. That actually makes a
Homie
lot
the
of
clown,
sense.
because
Homie
he don't mess around.
Oh,
And also
okay.
Fire Marshal Bill.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, that was Jim Carrey.
Okay.
So he got his sort of start, obviously, in stand-up, but that was a big show for Jim Carrey as well. So, yeah, anyways, good move there. All right, so today, we did have a move up there in the marijuana. I don't know if the marijuana moment was talking
I
today
couldn't
or
find
not.
any Yeah, I always check marijuana.
I know, that's, yeah, from you,
No
I got
news.
that one there. But there it goes, man, nice little upside play. Big, beautiful weed, maybe included in that bill. But there it goes to the upside, MSOS. And again, I talk negatively about some of the marijuana stocks, but there's many more names involved with MSOS. You get multi-state operators, things like that, TrueLeave, some different names that are involved in MSOS. So I think if you're going to be in an ETF, this is probably the one to be in right there. It is only down, change in the last 5 days, up 18%. So it's had a nice little run in the last 5 days. I wanted to see what it was year to date, though. Down 32% year to date on MSOS. So that name up, though, today as we continue to climb higher. Unfortunately, the Trade Ideas platform does not have oil for us, but you can see the oil holders today. OIH. This, to me, looks like a pretty good breakout as well, about to happen right there. Bless you, Ramin, as we get a lot of dust around here these days, needless to say. So I know Neil's been suffering from some of that as well. So thank you, everybody, for your patience in allowing us to build this crazy studio. The plans for it are insane, so we're excited about that one. But here's OIH. There it is. What's up? There's our desk. Oil holders right now, 251 and change. That looks like a good little breakout day today. You can also have USO, which is, of course, U.S. oil. So there, that name is up over 0.63% as well as USO getting a little bit higher. XLE, some of the oil names go higher today. XOM, good mover, up to 114 and change there. But today we also have, again, considering possible tariffs, maybe up to 50% on copper. So COPX today making that move higher on that news. And again, it'll just show you intraday. Boom, boom, almost like it did not exist. And this is what I'm talking about when you're hearing that tariff talk. I always think let it settle down, let it find an area, and then almost try to trade it off the back end of that trade, right? And so right there, you got that wick top. This is just a 3-minute chart. But if you start to go short, even on that first candle, it does make that move back in. So that would be FCX, is the biggest copper name that I could think of right there, making that move higher and then lower, but still closing the day up a nice 3.5%. Jennifer Lopez, yes, was one of the fly girls. That's what they were called there on. They used to dance in commercial breaks and at the end of the show. But there's FCX, nice move back in on the downside. I'll ask Brian Shannon if he is a fan of In Living Color. He should be up very, very soon with us now as well. All right, the cabinet meeting also resulted in sound bites about Jerome Powell, unfortunately, and more talk about how he has no idea what he's doing and he's Mr. Too Late. But he's Mr. All-Time High. I mean, that's what I'm going to call him right now. Since Jerome Powell's been in charge, the stock market is absolutely booming. And again, not that he's responsible for everything, but you could be too late, you could be too early. But at the end of the day, the SPY right here, Fabian, that's what's happening right now. Nice upside move. Of course, Donald Trump will take all the credit for this, but at the end of the day, he caused this. And now we're up here. The trajectory before we talked about all of this was probably higher anyways. So I think this is a good buy spot for the SPY if we come back in into past all-time highs. And we might be getting that pretty soon. 612, 613, also matching up there with the Qs. So again, Powell being talked about it, being asked to resign immediately. That won't be happening. So he's going to have to get out of there in May. So that's when he's gone. So the end of May, we will see Mr. Too Late gone, it looks like, at that point. Unless Trump changes his mind.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
extends that as well. But he's completely in charge of that. But you mentioned that Scott Bessent, there's been some talk about that coming through.
Trump kind of alluded to it today as well.
But he's the U.S. Treasurer. Then he's got to get a new Treasury Secretary.
And here's the thing. I don't know. Scott Bessent, I've said this, and this is not political. This is just my opinion listening to the man talk. I would rather he stay the Treasury Secretary because you have to listen. Like, Jerome Powell's an excellent speaker. You have to listen to the Fed chair speak quite a lot. I do not know if Scott Bessent is the right man for the job, given that literally we had Congress and the Senate both tell him when he's in hearings, stick to yes or no questions, because he'll just hum and haw for the entirety of their time. So, and I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. No one is a perfect speaker. Fed Chair Powell is a very good speaker. Also, but yeah, basically today what happened was after he said, oh, T-O-O, too late.
Right.
All this, he basically, apparently he looked at Besson.
He spelled it out, T-O-O.
Yeah, he spelled it.
Yeah,
and then he apparently looked at Besson. All I heard was him saying it, but people were saying he actually looked at Besson during it. And he said, oh, I wish you were in, instead of him. Like, we need to get someone good. So it seems like right now he wants Scott Besson, but he's also said the same thing before to former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh. So we'll have to wait and see.
All right, so yeah, we'll just keep on looking at that. Yeah, Shadera is in the house. Shout out to you, Sebastian, as we're running this right now. Yeah, AEHR was the only Air Systems, was the only one with a report. You can see they're all the way down here at 1240, down just 15%. Of course, on a double miss there, top and bottom line for AEHR. A little bit of a move down, but again, a pretty small company, man, $372 million market cap. So it was just one of the stocks that were reporting. We did have a negative day today on BAC, a couple downgrades as they get excited for their future earnings potential. They're, however, stating that with their date coming July 16th, which is next Wednesday, they are nervous what the numbers are going to be posted up for them. I don't think they got a price downgrade, but just I think it was buy to hold there for BAC today at Stifel. But a nice move down there for Bank of America, maybe potentially looking to pick some of that up. The whole banking sector, though, today, as again, it looks like rates will be where they are for until maybe December. It looks like maybe 2 rate cuts, hopefully 3 coming this year, but definitely a pullback. And again, like when you're talking about these pullbacks, you have to take something out near the top when stocks make runs, because it is very easy for these names to pull back. And then all of a sudden on the chart, you're like, what have I done? It's all the way back here again. So watch out for JP Morgan as that's coming back in as well. Yeah, another name that's one of the first names to report from the Mag 7, which is not a Mag 7 name traditionally, but Netflix, a big name coming through. That's July 17th. So yeah, July 17th. What is today's date again? That would be Thursday. So Thursday, July 17th, coming in for Netflix. So that name has now dropped off a little bit. When's the last time this came out? Not related to market, overall market weakness, I guess, was back here when we had sort of February move back in, and then we had the tariff move. And again, this name nowhere near its 50 period or its 200 period. I do like Netflix on the move down. Was there a downgrade for Netflix? There must have been something.
There was an upgrade today, actually. They had a downgrade yesterday. I just think the stock is getting sleepy.
Valuation.
Yeah, this is a stock that I look at like regularly. Then I think, as far as I can tell, right now, it's just kind of getting a little exhausted. It's also been steadily rejecting. I don't want to jump on Brian's toes here, but it's been steadily rejecting the AVWAP from all-time highs, at least the one that I have. So I think that maybe some technical stuff with flakes. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Netflix is a nice little downside move there, down over 1.1%. Not a huge move for them, considering the run that Netflix has had over the last little while. So, yeah, man, nice move down there for Netflix today. I think we want to pick some of this up at some point as well. Yeah, just that's about it, man. We've done a pretty good job here talking about numerous names. I did want to look one more call here before we go over to Brian Shannon, who's waiting for us. So we're going to go over to that 1 second. Thanks all 3,000 of you also waiting to hear from Brian and what he's got to say. Datadog up, down, flat. Like we said, man, that imbalance paired off real fast. Came out with a nice little buy imbalance of 8 million shares. Wound up going out around 30 million at the close right there. Nice day for Datadog. I mean, down for Datadog, but the move into the S&P 500 now complete. We'll be trading over there tomorrow as the newest addition. As Juniper came out, Datadog goes in. And Datadog's had a nice little move higher there as well. Back in, not into all-time highs, but there's that sort of, I don't want to call it a false bump, because whenever the price action is what it is, you have to just sort of land with it. But this could pull back because there's the announcement. A lot of traders not expecting it to be Datadog, maybe thinking Robinhood. I'm not sure if there was any other names, actually. That's the only one that came to my head there was Robinhood as a possible addition.
AppLovin has been on that.
Oh, yeah, that was the other one, AppLovin.
A year people have been wanting AppLovin, and then AppLovin keeps getting short reports. So, like, I don't know if they're loving AppLovin, though. It has been.
They might not be. And again, AppLovin there, because Juniper comes out there, a name in the space. AppLovin could have been added as well right there. But this is what this chart looks like. Pretty good. Does not get that gap fill on the S&P announcement. It's Trader Talk time. Let's bring in Brian. Mr. Brian Shannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I was just listening to Dara talking about anchored VWAPs off all-time highs. I love it.
Yeah, I looked over there and I saw it had a smile on your face. So there it is. This is the author. Get that book. Up there it is right here. This is Maximum Trading Gains with an anchored view up. Of course, Brian, you always ask me to promote this. No, he doesn't. He never asked me at all to do that. Thank you so much, Brian, for the book. And again, it's passed around here a lot. Traders love that. Any thoughts about that Datadog? I mean, we just talked about that a little bit. I know there's some traders that got excited about it being added to the S&P 500. I always feel like those are FOMO trades. Like if you're kind of not in it before, might not really be worth chasing. But Datadog over here, kind of on an island by itself, like literally looks like that right now. I would say we might not want to get into this until we even break some of those highs. Possible fill the gap back into there. And that gap is pretty key because it's the same gap where we gapped lower almost to the exact dollar. And we also gapped higher there. Possible tops at 134. I do think it's a buy if we can get back into there. But any thoughts on Datadog as we look at that chart?
I think you're right. It's probably chasing it up here, especially when you look at, the news coming out after a double. The stock just ran from 80 to 160, and then you get good news coming out. So it looks like it was widely anticipated. Now a little bit of profit taking and, let it settle down. It's probably, like you said, a FOMO trade right up here.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Last week you talked about, we sort of went back and forth a little bit about some of the tech names there and some names that you might like. And you left us with a great one that's actually moving today. It's SMCI. SMCI today up over 4%. And as I look at this chart, yeah, like no wonder why I think we like this. I wonder if you're still in this, if maybe not yet, what you're looking at, because right there, breaking this $50, I mean, how awesome does this look right there, right back into here, back into 24 of October. So almost a year ago, we were flirting with these same levels. SMCI, hey, if we start to get some positive tariff talk here and the chip space starts to move a little bit, of course, SMCI a little different than NVIDIA, but what do you think about SMCI here? You still like the stock, performing well, has a nice base there, and also above the 200 and the 50-period moving averages. Thoughts on SMCI?
I still do like SMCI. I don't like the personality of the stock.
Okay.
Just because the way, we're looking at this 30-minute time frame, big up, big down, big up, big down, right back up. So the range is tightening. That's positive here on the daily time frame. And we are above a rising 20-day moving average as well. I got rid of my stock. I own some call options, which is good because I can't hold the stock through this volatility. It's too much for me personally. Options, I don't mind holding through that type of volatility. I've got through the 18th, the July 18th is the strike on these. I'm sorry, the expiration. And I'm thinking it has the ability to get up to the anchor from this peak right here, the all-time high. I think that's the all-time high from 2024. So that's been a key level before, and that's at about 54.5, 55.
Okay, yeah, good little look
another
there.
10%.
Yeah, good look there. And I like playing it with options. Of course, earnings not until August 12th. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Next week, we kick off earnings season. I don't think it's too late yet to maybe get into some options or things like that. Today we had a nice downside play in BAC. We don't really talk too much about the financials or the banks, you and I. I know you kind of look at everything and you're great at answering questions about everything. So I'm going to ask you right now, is there a stock that you've been looking at in the space? It kicks off next Tuesday with JPM, Bank of America, the following day on the 16th. Citigroup and Wells Fargo also with JP Morgan. So is there any name that's gotten your attention as we head into earnings season again next week?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of trading the financials, Sean. I look at them like as a commodity-related stock, the commodity being interest rates.
Right.
So, you've got supply and demand for interest rates. You've got all kinds of, I like growth stocks. I like names, that are not subject to global macro events. And anyways, so, I've been looking at it for clients of Alpha Trends, and I've been pointing out the higher lows on the 30-minute time frame, which we just broke below. So it looks like maybe a little bit of profit taking ahead of those earnings, and then maybe it sets up a good buy after that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm still long JP Morgan. I've been trimming a little bit on the way up. There's a stock that I've talked to everybody about, including yourself, and I feel like it's been a very long time, and we're really happy for this double up, Brian. I think I'm getting a little greedy not getting out of it, but it's Big Bear AI. It's BBAI. I brought this name to many of us over the last little while. I've liked this. Again, I think it's in the right space. We talked about big data there, announced a couple of different deals back in June. Big Bear AI upside there today. But, you know, we faded out pretty nice. There's that $8 break. And I always think that, you know, we were able to take this. It was my largest P&L trade of the month, although the month is pretty early. We busted through that $8 mark. We got up here into 860, 870, where we actually wound up getting out of the majority of our trade. Pretty lucky on that one. But Brian, I think that if you're looking over here, we may have just like that little top wick. That looks a little nasty on the daily chart. It also goes into really where supply had been showing its face last time. We only traded 3 days above this wick on Big Bear AI. I think it's actually due for a pullback. I got some out today around 850. What do you think about this stock, or maybe any of the other stocks? SOUN, SOUN, S-O-U-N, C3 AI, just AI. But Big Bear AI, what a nice move up right there. I think it was pretty wise to take some profits. Any thoughts on a stock like this?
Yeah, I mean, on the 30-minute time frame, Sean, we've still got a pattern of higher lows with this rising 5-day moving average. So if you're holding, you know, based on that time frame, it's still intact. But if it breaks below here, then I think we're probably going to see, you know, a little bit more serious selling. This has been a hell of a rally here. The one that is my P&L for the month so far is CRNC, and thank goodness I looked at this one and sold 90% of what I held above 1155-ish right here today. So same story as Big Bear, that it came down super hard. And if you're trying to hold with these higher lows, you know, I would have had my stop way down here. Instead, I got out up there. So when you have these stocks like BBAI with an ATR of 14.7% per day, you've got to be a little bit more aggressive about managing and maybe holding a small trailer with those wider stops.
Yeah, we also had, it's a beginning of a day, but also 33% short float there on Big Bear AI. So another point.
CRNC is similar rather, it's 28%.
Yeah, crazy. All right, Adair has a question for you.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you, hi, Brian. Good to see you. Thank you for being here with us. I want to ask you about a very different type of stock, Amazon. I was just kind of seeing this come on my news blotter. Apparently, Jeff Bezos sold a whole slew of Amazon shares or filed for a whole bunch of sales. He's gone through 25% of the total total shares he plans on selling. With all that in mind, I guess regardless of the catalyst, what's your thought on AMZN right now, especially as we do head into earnings?
I like Amazon. In fact, I had just brought this in a couple days ago for subscribers saying that, you know, we've had a nice run in here. Now it's breaking out. I'd like to see it pull back. So what I'm looking for in Amazon is for maybe to pull back down into this 20-day moving average, settle down in here, and then the next move higher. So we're below that 5-day moving average. And if we start to see something like this in the next couple days, then maybe by the end of the week, early into next week, I think it'll be setting up for another wave higher, similar to these two that I just pointed out.
All right, I was going to
just a little early.
Yeah, great little look there on Amazon. I love Amazon. That's one of the bigger names that I'm trying to get bigger in the IRA, in the long-term account here. Brian, have you ever seen the show In Living Color?
I have, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. We were talking about Homie the Clown and Fire Marshal Bill and all those characters there. Jennifer Lopez got his start, Jim Carrey, the Wayans brothers. Anyways, I said I'd ask you about that show. So that was, so we were talking about it with Adair and I earlier. So there you go, Brian, Shannon.
Tracy Ullman was on there too, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember a skit. She did the Stone song "Paint It Red," and she was like going crazy with a red can of paint and everything. Oh, paint it black rather. Right. What am I talking about? I see a red door, I don't want to paint it black.
Right, that was a great skit. And there was also David Allen Greer and Tommy Davidson, tons of characters. Great watch for everybody here. If you haven't go watch it, I don't know if it's on YouTube or what is going on there. All right, some talk about Snapchat. I don't know if I haven't even looked at that. Let's look at Snapchat together. How about that, Brian? I haven't looked at this in a minute. So I'll give you my thoughts here on Snapchat. When I'm looking at a daily chart here for Snapchat, obviously it hasn't had the run that many other names have had. There's some of the tech names up 30, 40, 50%. This name bottom $7 up to $9. So I guess that's 30%, a nice little move from top to bottom there, but still under the 200 period moving average for me there on Snapchat. With earnings July 29th, we have a couple weeks to worry about this. I don't ever hear too much about Snapchat. Obviously, we're going to wait to hear about their daily active users. But for me on a daily chart, not really getting too much love. Don't really know what to look at there. But if you look at a weekly chart, oh boy, we're trying to maybe break out, trying to get above that 50-period moving average. But here we have an $8 bottom. Maybe help me out. Where would you drop an anchor? What are you looking at with a name like Snapchat? It's been asked a couple times here in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, I see why they're interested in it. We just saw a nice run up on big volume here, several days in a row, and now we're consolidating on lighter volume. It's right at the year-to-date anchor. The thing that concerns me is the same thing you pointed out, Sean, is that dashed line here is the 200-day moving average, and you look at prior support right in here. This is a pretty big area of support. That will tend to act as resistance. So I think that for a trade, you might be able to see it, move up towards that 200-day moving average, then I would get really tight with my risk management. But beautiful volume pattern, and it's looking like a nice little flag. Let's look at it on a shorter term time frame. It's holding right on that 5-day moving average. There's the anchor off the peak, so it's nice and tight. I mean, you could you could probably buy it above this level right here, above today's high, with a stop under the low here from last Friday. So it's looking tight and ready to go again.
I have another question here for you, Brian, this time from Ian Rispetto with a $1.99 super chat saying, can we ask Brian what he thinks about Oscar Health, OSCR?
Yeah, I mean, Oscar tried to do its thing, and it got stuffed right back in. When you look at the weekly chart, this is the history of this stock. It has these big run-ups, and then it gets the snot kicked out of it, and it does nothing. And I think you're probably there again. If you're in this thing, it's not likely. I don't think. I mean, it's nice to see it's finding buyers along the 50 and the 200-day moving average, but to me, it looks like it's going to need to heal from this. We got a lot of people trapped up here and feeling badly about it. So if you put an anchor off the beginning of that move, the average price since the stock started moving higher is up at 1867. So most people are down about 10-15% in this stock, and that means it's likely to be met with supply. Failed breakout. I don't like it at all.
You almost read my mind there when you talked about a lot of people down on a certain stock. What about Intel today? Intel going up 7%.
Yeah, nice day. Yeah, we spoke about that last week, Sean, because as you know, we've been talking about that 30-year anchored VWAP, which I deleted off the chart, but that's where we continue to find the buyers. And nice move out of this little consolidation on the daily time frame. It looks to me like it is going to head up towards, where was that anchor? I had an anchor off here. Right. So it up towards that 25.5, 26 level. That's the anchor off the high from 2024 right here. So I think that you're likely to see it continue to move up towards that level. And this is the type of stock very similar to Oscar. If you're not quick to take profits, don't be complacent when you have a winner in this type of name, because they take them way quicker. The only good thing about it now is we're above a 50, we're above a 200, and the 200-day moving average is rising for the first time since, back here when it broke below in early 2024.
All right, Brian, and great follow at Alpha Trends. Go make sure you do follow this guy's Stock Twits, Educator of the Year. So we're really glad to have you on board. Give us, I've thrown, Dara's thrown, we've all thrown a few names at you here today. And you always kind of leave us with little tidbits or little stocks to look at. So give us one that you're thinking about, something that maybe you've sent you to your subscribers, or popular questions that you've been asked. Is there a name that you're looking at that maybe I could ask you about next week?
Yeah, how about DOCS? I put this one on Twitter today, Doximity. And if you take a look here at the daily chart, we had this big move up in February. And the anchor off of that has been, holding it back a little bit, along with that blue year-to-date anchor. That's really where we've been finding sellers. Now, just a couple days ago, we had a nice little shakeout. It recovered quickly here on that 30-minute time frame. I got long some of this today. I'm going to add to it hopefully tomorrow on strength with a stop under here. So stop, I think $60.14. That's 2 pennies below this low right here. And that one is looking like it could make a move probably for about 67, 68. So maybe a nice 10% mover with about $1.50 of risk.
All right, great. Yeah, thanks so much for that. Dara has a great memory, so she's going to remember Doc's imagery. So we're going to get you on that next week. Okay, Brian, do you want to talk about where people could find you, what you've been up to, what you're doing? Are you making any appearances or speaking anywhere anytime soon?
No, nothing coming up like that, Sean. It's kind of quiet summer.
Perfect.
Doximity, most important part, stop of 60.14. So I want people to always remember that. But Sean, alphatrends.net is my website, and at alphatrends on Twitter. So pretty easy to find.
There it is. Brian Shannon, thank you so much. A good friend of the show. Been here for many, many years. At one point, we wore the same shirts. I'm not going to forget about that day. It's Brian Shannon. Thank you so much. Go give this guy a follow. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right. Adara, we didn't want to interrupt that interview, but you have some news.
I do have a little bit of news. It wasn't anything major either. It just came out at the end. Keep an eye on Apple AAPL announcing that Jeff Williams, COO, will be transitioning his role to Sabi Khan. I guess Sabi will be taking over as COO. And you guys know me. I did a quick little research so Jeff Williams has been COO for 10 years, starting in 2015. Sabi Khan, though, was no slouch. She's been reporting to Jeff Williams since 2019, and he's been with Apple since 1995. So 30-year veteran of the company, seems like a fine fit here to replace Jeff Williams as COO. Not really a huge stock reaction. You saw we got a little bit of a wick down to 208.80. He's already back to 210s. But interesting either way, especially given that we had that report earlier, Apple's AI head making the move over to Meta.
Right, good. Yeah, Apple losing a couple of players there, and Meta taking them all. It seems like now another company. You know what? I think there's enough talent out there. Some of the numbers that are being thrown around quite huge, so I don't blame anybody for shipping on that one. I wonder, too, about the stock options and all that, right? We'll see how that all plays out. Okay, it's date night number 2 for the wife and I. When the kids are away, the adults will play. But I have a quick question for you. All right, you have an option here. This is one of 3 foods. It's either Thai food, it is sushi, it's Japanese, I guess, or Chinese. So if you could open this up and inside of it was one of those. Japanese. Good, we like that one.
What about you?
Great call. I'd probably go with Thai.
Ramin also said Thai. Ramin was very adamant about Thai.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, I always knew I liked Ramin. So, yeah, shout out to Thai food there. And, I mean, you as well. But, yeah, shout out to Thai food there. Fabian, Chinese, Thai, or Japanese? Chinese. We run the gauntlet.
All like,
we run the gauntlet right there. Chinese, good one, too, though. Depending on, I guess, on what you're doing. Late night food. I'm with Fabian on that. So maybe we'll get a little bit of both. No, I'm just joking. All right, thank you so much for today. What a great show. Thank you, Brian Shannon. Thanks, Ramin, for over there. Thanks, Fabian. Thanks, Adara, and everybody that's been part of the show. And thank you to you guys for staying late with both of us. That's Adara LePage. I'm Sean Catino. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.
See you guys.